Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Allahumma la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Allahumma 'allimna ma yanfa'una wanfa'na bima 'allamtana wa zidna 'ilman ya rabbal alamin. Allahumma arzuqna al-ikhlasa fil aqwali wal a'mal. Allahumma ij'al 'amalana fi ridaka amin ya rabbal alamin. Alhamdulillah, this is our 23rd class, and there are only two classes left after this class, which will be conducted after the Eid days, inshallah. So, in today's class, we'll be covering Kitabul Hudood. We'll continue Kitabul Hudood from Hadith number 355. So, the term Hudood, this is Hadith number 355. The term Had, which is the plural or singular for the Hudood, or Hudood is the plural for the singular Had. The term hudud, which are limits or prescribed punishments in the Arabic language, refers to a boundary or a separator between two things. Since legal punishments act as a boundary separating people from committing crimes, and they prevent the people from committing crimes, just like we have boundaries which we are not supposed to cross. Likewise, these are known as hudud, and this is the reason they have been termed as hudud. These punishments serve as a deterrent uh, by the will of Allah, preventing individuals from engaging in crimes. The purpose of these legal punishment is to prevent the occurrence of such offences. The Sharia was revealed to preserve the well-being and interest of the society. And Maqasid Sharia, from amongst the goals of the Sharia, is to preserve the life, honor, religion of people. So this is the reason the hudud and the punishments have been prescribed. Allah says in the Quran, "Walakum fil qisasi hayatun," and there is life for you in retribution. Similarly, the punishment for example, false accusation, qazf, which is known as qazf, yani when you accuse someone of having committed immorality, then this is known as qazf. If you are not able to prove what you are charging the or accusing the other person of, then this is known as al qazfu. Qazf. It is al qazfu. So the punishment for false accusation was established to safeguard people's honor. The punishment for example, adultery was legislated to protect both people's honor and their lineage, nasab and the arab. Punishment for theft was instituted to protect the people's wealth. Uh, these hudud are the legal punishment. They serve as safeguards for people's rights and interests, protecting them from being violated by the offenders. Thus, the wisdom behind these hudud, including the punishment for theft and others, is to preserve the interests of society, whether related to wealth, honor, lineage, or other aspect. And by the way, these things are the maqasid sharia, from the five goals of the sharia, the major five goals of the sharia. Thus, the legal punishment or the hudud, the wisdom behind them, is to preserve the interest of the society as dictated by the specific had punishment prescribed by the Islamic law. It should be understood that the enforcement of these hudud is in the best interest of the entire ummah. It is in the best interest of the entire ummah. When a thief's hand is cut off, when a murderer is executed, or when a person guilty of false accusation is flogged, these hudud, they serve as a benefit to society. This is because the well-being of the ummah is only ensured when security is established, rights are protected, and bloodshed is prevented, and property is respected. This principle is supported by the well-known statement attributed to Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu, who used to say that, and this was a statement that indeed Allah deters through authority, through sultan, what he does not deter through the Quran. Sometimes it happens, yani people they don't stop simply reading the ayat in the Quran, but then the sultan, the one who has the authority, he comes and enforces these laws upon them. So Allah deters through authority what he does not deter through the Quran. The enforcement of the hudud is thus beneficial for the ummah. They are beneficial for the ummah. This is further confirmed by an authentic hadith from the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, wherein he said that uh, the haddun yu'malu bihi fil ardi khairun li ahli al-ardi min an yumtaru arba'ina sabahan. The implementation of a single legal punishment on earth is better for its people than receiving rain for 40 days, 40 mornings. So this is the Rani, if you reflect on this, and enforcing a single had brings more goodness, benefits, and blessings to the ummah than 40 days of rain. Now consider how much goodness results from 40 days of rain, how the land flourishes, the grass grows, the prosperity increases. Similarly, the enforcement of a single had brings immense benefit to the ummah. For instance, when a uh, thief's hand is cut off, when a false accuser is flogged, or when a person guilty of drinking alcohol is punished, these hudud bring great benefits to the society. Among these hudud is the punishment that is the focus of this discussion that we are in, which is the punishment for the theft, which is the punishment for the theft. Theft, as-sariqa, this sariqa, haddu sariqa or sariqa. Now, what is the meaning of sariqa? Sariqa refers to the unlawful taking of wealth secretly from its secured place. These includes acts such as breaking into a house and stealing from within, breaking open a safe, or shattering a car window, its glass to steal its contents. So theft is characterized by the act of secretly taking property from its secured place. Uh, a story of this, something similar, is found in the case of, and even before that, before you go to that story, Musannif Rahimahullah brought in this hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar raziyallahu anhuma, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he qata'a fi mijannin. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam cut the hand fi mijannin, because of a mijan. Now, what is a mijan? A mijan is a shield, a turs, a shield, the known shield which is used in the battles to protect oneself. What we call this shield as this, because of this shield, the hand of the thief was cut off because he stole this shield. So mijan is the shield. In some narrations, the word aturs has also been used. Aturs, which is nothing but a shield, which I think in Urdu or Hindi we call it as dhal, which is used in the battles to protect oneself. So he says qimatuhu fi lafzin samanuhu, and another, it's what was the worth of it, what was the cost of this shield. In some narration it says samanuhu, its price was salasatu darahim, 3 dirham. And as you know, we studied earlier that the dirham is nothing but it is the silver currency. It was silver. Dirham is from made out of silver. Dinar is made out of gold. So this shield was worth 3 dirham. And in the time of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, one dinar used to be equal to 12 dirham. One dinar, which is a gold coin, used to be equal to 12 dirham. So this is one fourth of a dirham. So he stole something valued at one fourth of a dinar. And next hadith will come wherein it will come that what is the threshold amount, if a person steals it, that his hand is to be cut off. What is that threshold? So this will come in this hadith 356. So hadith 356, and Aisha radhiyallahu anha annaha samiyat Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam yaqul tuqta'u al-yadu fi rub'i dinarin fasa'idan. So this is the threshold. This hadith is it is giving you the threshold, the nisab, that when should a person's hand be cut off. So the hadith says that hand is to be cut off, tuqta'ul yadu fi rubu'i dinarin fasa'idan. Hand is to be cut off, yani, of the thief if he steals for something equal to or greater than quarter of a dinar, 1 by 4 of a dinar. So if the value is more than 1 by 4 of a dinar, the hand is to be cut off. And uh, in the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, 1 dinar was equivalent to 12 dirham. So this is the reason when that person stole that shield which was worth 3 dirham, his hand was cut off. However, uh, this proportion may change, and in our times it may not be like 1 dirham, which is 4.25 grams of gold, may not be equal to like 3 dirham. And a dirham we saw earlier is somewhere around 2.97 grams. Each dirham is or each dirham is around 2.97 grams. So 3 dirham is close to 6 dirham or 6 grams. But yani, if you see one quarter of a dinar, if you try to compare the price, it may not stand today. So what should be the criteria of cutting the hands of the thief is that when he steals something equal to one quarter of a dinar. And you should not try to compare it in today's time and you say somebody stole equal to 3 dirham of something, worth of something, then his hand is to be cut off. No, it will be compared with the this statement rubu dinarin, not on the grounds of silver worth of thing which somebody stole in today's time, because gold and silver are not related to that in that proportion which was there at the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because the prices they vary. Okay, so the thing which should be kept in mind is that the hand is to be cut off when the person steals something whose price is equal to or more than quarter of a dinar, and one dinar is, as you know, it is 4.25 grams of gold. So quarter of a dinar is approximately a little more than yani 1.06 grams, and 1.06 grams in today's time is how much? I think 8,000 or little more than 8,000. You better know it, somewhere around that. But I hope you understand that one quarter of a dinar is the nisab for the hand of a thief to be cut off, and not and silver is not to be considered, gold is to be considered, because the prices they vary. Hadith 357 an Aisha radhiyallahu anha anna Quraishan ahammahum شأن المخزومية التي سرقت فقالوا من يكلم فيها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى آخر الحديث. This is the famous hadith. I am definitely sure that you must have heard of this story. Ummul Mu'minin Aisha radhiyallahu anha, she says that Anna Quraishan, that the tribe of Quraysh, they considered the status of a Makhzumiyya woman who stole something, because obviously she was from a Makhzum tribe. So this Makhzum is a very famous tribe. It was a Qabila and a very famous Qabila, and they had status in the society. So this woman, she stole something, and it is known that when you steal something more than quarter of a dinar, then the hand is to be cut off. So the Quraysh, they considered this something to be something very big. They thought that this tribe has a standing. This tribe has a standing, and how can we allow the hand of this woman to be cut off? This will bring bad name. So this is what Sheikh is saying. Haza haqiqatun yustafadu minhu faida. Yani, there is a benefit out of this, that why the Quraysh, they were not willing the hands of this were not willing that the hands of the woman should be cut off, because these debase and lowly acts like theft and zina and such kind of things, they have a great effect on a person's standing in the society. The family name goes down. Sometimes people, they don't know a person by his name. When such things they happen, people normally don't say that such a such person has stolen thing. Rather than they say that a person from such a such tribe, such a such family, it was such a big family, and a person from that family uh, stole something. So it brings bad name not only to the individual. Sometimes the individuals, they go unnoticed, and what uh, bears the brunt is actually the whole family or the whole tribe. And this is the reason it is important that the person must not do anything which brings bad name to himself as well as to his family and tribe. So فالحاصل أن قريشا أهمهم شأن هذه المخزومية التي سرقت. So Quraysh, they did not want this punishment to be executed upon this woman. So they said, Man yukallimu fiha Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is there who can speak concerning this woman to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Is there anyone who can go and intercede on behalf of that? So they, even before that, the story on in the background, it says that even before they decided to go to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they had tried to uh, to pacify this matter by paying some diya. Havalu daf uddiyati mudaafatin, and many times multiplied. They said, okay, if this thing has happened, we are willing to pay blood money, kind of thing, so that we can settle out of the court. So the diya is 1,000 dinar. Diya is 1,000 dinar. So they tried to somehow they were willing to pay like four times more. Instead of 1000, they said, okay, we'll pay you 4000. And the one whose item was stolen, that 1000, we will give you 4000 dinars, the condition that you should keep quiet. You should keep quiet. And then later, when this thing did not went through, they thought to seek intercession of someone with the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to drop the had from this woman. However, this incident of this Makhzumia woman had already reached Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam even before they would go to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam seeking some concession. This matter already had reached him. And when the matter it reaches the qazi, or the those in the judiciary, if it reaches them, to the hakim or to the qazi, then intercession is haram. Then it is impermissible for anyone to intercede to drop the punishment, because there is curse in such a situation. It says, iza balagta bihi as-sultan fala'an Allahu shafi al mashhur. There is curse of Allah upon the one who is interceding, as well as upon the one who is being interceded for. If it has reached the sultan or the authority, and if the incident has already reached the sultan, then it is haram for the shafi to intercede for someone. There is curse of Allah upon such a person. However, before the news reaches the hakim or the ruler, if the person, he waives off his right, yani someone whose money has been stolen, if he waives off the right, okay, okay, I let go, no problem, we settle, I will not complain. Or if some notable person from the society, if they intercede in between them somehow, okay, this person has stolen this thing from you, we will help you out, get your thing back, plus we'll also, if possible, give you something more than that, or whatever they agree to, amongst themselves, if settlement occurs out of the court, then there is no problem. However, if once it has reached the qazi, then it is impermissible for anyone to intercede now. In fact, it is haram, and there is lan and curse of Allah upon the person who does that. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says in, it has come in the Sunan, and it is a Sahih narration, that Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Ta'afu al hudud fima bainakum. Yani, forgive these punishment amongst yourself. If anything, something happened between you, try to settle it down before it turns into a hudud and punishment. Yani, those punishment for which there are hudud, if you settle down between yourself, it is better. Fama balagani, as long as it fama balagani min haddin faqad wajab. Yani, if it has reached to the qadi, then the had will become obligatory. A story of this nature is also found in the incident of Safwan ibn Umayyah raziyallahu anhu, as recorded in Sunan Abi Dawood, that once he was sleeping in the masjid using his cloak as a pillow, rida as a pillow, and the top part with which a person covers the top part of the body. So he was sleeping, making it as a pillow. A man came and stole his cloak, then walked away. Safwan radiallahu anhu woke up, noticed the theft, pursued the thief, caught him, and brought him to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He brought him to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When the case was presented, it was ruled that the thief's hand should be cut off due to this theft. At this point, Safwan radiallahu anhu suggested an alternative, saying something like, for example, uh, that shall I sell it to him? Yani, ataqta'uhu min ajli salasina dirhaman. Yani, the value of this clock was around 30 dirham, and we know earlier that if somebody steals something more than 3 dirham or more than that, then hand is to be cut off. This was 10 times more. So he says that, and if for such a small meager amount, will his hand be cut off? Ana abi'uhu wa unsi'uhu samanaha. Yani, what I will do is, instead, shall I sell it to him and be patient for the payment? Yani, I will give him time. I'll sell it to him. They can, okay, keep it with you, and may give the payment later. So Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, Fahalla kana haza qabla an ta'tiyani bihi. And was this before you brought him to me? And if you would have done it before it was brought to me, then that was fine. So this indicates that if the matter had been resolved before reaching the authority, ruler or the judge, Safwan radiallahu anhu could have pardoned the thief, accepted compensation, or someone could have interceded on his behalf. However, once a case involved hudud reaches the ruler, judge, or legal authority, intercession is no longer permitted. Intercession is no longer permitted. The prescribed punishment must be carried out. So, faqalu man yukallimu, they said that who will speak concerning this Makhzumiyah woman to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they said, waman yashtari, who has this strength except for Osama ibn Zayd. They knew that he was the hibbu Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the beloved of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not only he was the beloved of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but his father was also Zayd ibn Harisa. He was also the beloved of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He loved both of them very much. So who can dare to speak to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam except for Usama ibn Zayd radhiyallahu anhu. He was his beloved. So fakallamahu Usamatu. Usama radhiyallahu anhu went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to intercede on behalf of this woman, and he spoke to him. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Atashfa'u fi haddin min hududillah." Are you interceding in among concerning the capital or the punishment which Allah has set? Are you interceding? And this interrogation, his question is not to get the response on yes or no. Rather, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam disliked this act. So this question is indicating inkar, istinkar. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam disliked this intercession. So he said, are you interceding concerning a capital punishment or a hudud of Allah? Summa qama fakhtataba. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood up and he delivered a khutbah. He said, people before you, those who came before you, they were destroyed. Why? Because when some noble people from amongst a nation, they did something or they would steal something, they would not punish them, they would leave them. But when a weak person, a poor person amongst the society, if he would steal, they would apply the punishment to such a person. Wa'aymullah, this is a kind of an oath. Just like the vow is used to take an oath, wallahi, billahi, tallahi, likewise, aymullahi is also uh, a way in which oath is taken. So he says, wa'aymullah, by Allah, haza qasamun billah. So this is the oath upon Allah. Law anna Fatimata binta Muhammadin sarakat laqatatu yadaha. Yani if it were Fatima binti Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, if she would have done this theft, which is hasha wa kalla, it is far from imagine, we can imagine this, but still this is to show the gravity of the matter, that even if she would have done that, I would not have spared her from implementing this punishment, because this is a had from amongst the hudud of Allah. It is impermissible, which simply it means that it is impermissible, it is incorrect for a person to intercede in the hudud or the capital punishments of Allah. وذكر عليه الصلاة والسلام في خطبته هذه أن التدخل الشفاعة في هذا الباب لأهل الوجاهة وأهل المكانة وأن الحد إنما يقام على الضعيف هذا من موجبات الهلاك. He explained in this hadith that interceding in this area for those people who hold a standing, noble people of the society, who have status and station amongst in the society, and applying the punishment upon the weak, who are financially weak, or those who are not as noble in the society, implementing the capital punishment upon them and not implementing the capital punishment upon the noble people of the society, it is from amongst the causes of destruction which descend upon a society, لأنه يعرف إذا وصل الأمر إلى إقامة حد. Because why is it so? Why is it amongst the reasons or causes of halak and destruction? Because those who have standing nobility in the society, they would dare to commit any crime, whatever they want, because they knew that if at all this crime will reach to a stage where the punishment is to be executed, somebody will come and save us. Somebody will come and save us. On our behalf, somebody will intercede, the Qadi, the Amir, and the punishment will be waived off. And this is the reason uh, it is from amongst the causes and reasons for halak and destruction. And it will in fact cause, it will in fact cause unrest in the society. Then he says, وَفِي لَفْظٍ قالت عن أي يعني in another narration Aisha رضي الله عنها says كانت امرأة تستعير المتاع وتجهده فأمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بقطع يدها. Is another narration, Aisha رضي الله عنها, she is informing another characteristic of this woman, the nature of this woman. And she used to borrow things from the people. Istiara is to borrow things from the people, And then she used to deny that I ever took anything from you. Istiara is like you take something from someone, not to keep it permanently with you, but just to take benefit from it and to return it back to the person from whom you took. Normally, as it happens between the neighbors, like, can you give your like dinner set, or a pot, or utensils for cooking and things like that. Then this woman used to take it, and then she would deny that I ever took it. So she said, فَأَمَرَ النَّبِيُّ صلى الله عليه وسلم بِقَطْعِ يَدِهَا. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded the hand of this woman to be cut off. Now, here it appears as if the hand was cut off because of this woman borrowing things from people, al-mata, and denying it. It appears أن امرأة سرقت فيكون الذكر تستعير المتاع وتشير لا على أن استعارة. So however the Shaykh is saying, it appears as if the punishment is because of this borrowing things and not and then denying any such borrow. However, the reality is that the hand is not cut off because of she borrowing things from people and then denying. The hand was cut off because of the sariqa, because thief theft which she did. However, there are scholars who say that uh, they say that this incident, the hand which the woman, the hand of this woman, it was cut off because of this only, because she used to borrow things from people and then she used to deny. And this is khiyana. This is betrayal. When somebody entrusted you with their property, with their things, and then you deny it, it is khiyana, it is betrayal. And however, there is no punishment for betrayal there is no capital punishment as such in the Sharia. If somebody betrays someone and he betrays the trust, does not fulfill the trust, then there is no punishment of this nature when the hand is to be cut off. This cutting of the hand is a punishment for theft. However, there are some scholars, they say that no, as this hadith has come, Aisha radiallahu anha says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded the hand of this woman to be cut off. After mentioning this thing, tasta'irul mata wa tajhaduhu, immediately after it, if you see that what is she mentions, fa amara an-nabiy sallallahu alaihi wasallam bi qat'i yadiha. So they say, one group of scholars, they say that uh, her hand was cut off because of this only, because she used to borrow things and then she used to deny returning back. So it is as if she stole things from people, and this is the reason, this is the sabab for which the hand of the woman was cut off. And the other group of scholars, they say no, Aisha radiallahu anha was just informing another characteristic of this woman. One more characteristic which was found in this woman, which was bad, is that she used to borrow things from people and then would deny that I ever took from you. So Sheikh says, لكن القول الأول هو الأقرب والله تعالى أعلم وأن ذكر الجهد العارية هو من باب التعريف بالمرأة. However, the first opinion according to the Sheikh is more correct, that her hand was cut off because of the theft which she did. This incident is separate, and Aisha radiallahu anha was only informing about the characteristic of this woman, that she also used to do such thing, which means that she was known to commit such kind of things, and it is no wonder that she committed theft, because she had these kind of characteristics as well. Then the Sheikh is saying, قبل أن نختم هذا الباب أشير إلى أمر يتعلق بما جاء في حديث الثاني أن قطع اليد في ربع دينار. Okay, so Sheikh is here saying that an important thing, that why the diya, or as maybe inshallah it will come later, that if a person transgresses against someone, there are two people, they engage in some kind of dispute and fight, and one person amputates the hand of the other person, he cuts off the hand of the other person, so it is a crime, you cutting off the hand of another person. So this hand of the other person was cut off. Now if this happens, then there is a diya, there is a blood money to be given back to this man whose hand has been cut off. There is a diya. What is the diya? Either the exact same hand from the same place is to be cut off of the person who committed the crime, either this is to be done, or if this person he waves off, okay, the one whose hand is been cut off, he said no, I don't want the hand of the other person to be cut off, rather I want blood money, and it is permissible to come down to the level of the blood money. So what is the blood money to be given if the hand of a person is to be cut off? The blood money is half of the blood money of killing someone. So killing someone is 100,000 dinar, 1,000 dinar. So half of it is 500 dinar. So what the sheikh is saying that why the diya of an amputated hand is 500 dinar, while the same hand is cut off for quarter of a dinar. Now, do you imagine? Are you trying to, are you able to understand the question? The hand of a thief is cut off if he steals only quarter dinar or more, while the same hand, if it is cut off by another person, the diya is 500 dinar. Why is it so? So there are some who objected to this ruling. And how can the compensation for a severed hand be 500 dinars, yet the same hand is cut off for stealing yani as low as quarter of a dinar? One of those who raised this concern, he was famous and known by the name of, he was a poet, and his name was Abu Ala al-Ma'arri. Abu Ala al-Ma'arri. So he mentioned, and as an objection, he wrote this line of poem: Yadun bi khamsin mi'inin min asjidin wadit or wudiyat. So he says that a hand that is valued at 500 dinars of gold, why is it then severed for a theft of mere quarter dinar? So he says ma baluha qutiyat fi rub'i dinarin. The hand, the eye is 500 dinar, then why is it that it is cut off for only meager quarter of a dinar? So another Maliki alim, Abdul Wahab al Maliki rahimahullah, he refuted this objection of this man, and he refuted it in a poetry form. He says Azzul amanati aglaha wa arkhasuha zullul khiyana fafham hikmatul bari. So he says that the honor of trust elevated its worth. Azzul or Izzul amanati aglaha. The honor of the trust elevated its worth. And the disgrace of betrayal, wa arkhasuha dhullul khiyanati fafham hikmatul bari. And the disgrace of the betrayal devalued it. So understand the wisdom of the Creator. So lamma khanat rukhisat. So when it was faithful, it was esteemed. Yani when the hand was faithful, it was esteemed. But when it betrayed, it became worthless. When it betrayed, it became worthless. This means that when a person is trustworthy, their hands their hand holds great value, and harming it unjustly requires a high compensation. However, when the hand commits the crime of betrayal, like stealing, it loses its honor and is deemed deserving of punishment. Thus, this ruling is a divine decree that must be accepted with submission, as it ensures the protection of people's rights. When reflecting on this matter, one realizes the wisdom behind it. If the had punishment, for example, for theft were only reinforced when a person stole an amount equal to the diya of a hand, which is 500 dinars, would theft increase or decrease in the society? Obviously, the answer is it would increase, because thieves would assume they could steal any amount less than that, yani less than 500 dinars, with impunity. Similarly, if the diya for a wrongfully severed hand were only a quarter of dinar, the amount that triggers the hand had for the theft, people would be more reckless in attacking others, and you would have find incidences of chopping off or amputating the hands of others would become very common, and the incidences would increase. So the divine wisdom behind this distinction ensures balance. The thief's hand is cut off for a small amount to deter theft, and the diya for a wrongfully severed hand is high to deter aggression and violence. So it is very clear. So if these two matters were treated the same, wisdom would be lost and justice would be undermined. However, the perfect wisdom of Allah has determined different measures for each case, ensuring the protection of society's interest. Then Babu Haddil Khamr 358. عن انس بن مالك رضي الله عنه ان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اوتي برجل قد شرب الخمر فجلده بجريدة نحو 40. قال وفعله ابو بكر فلما كان عمر استشار الناس فقال عبد الرحمن أخف الحدود 80 فأمر به عمر. So this chapter is concerning the punishment for drinking alcohol, consuming alcohol. Alcohol is, as you are, as we are aware of, that it is the mother of all evil. It is Ummul Khaba'is, and alcohol is known as alcohol because it covers the aql. Ma khamar al aqlu. Al khamr ma khamar al aql. That which covers the aql. Yani, you no longer can think and take proper decisions. It covers your intellect and your aql. So this is khamr. And Walihaza kanat al khamru ummul khaba'is, and this is the reason it is from amongst the it is known as the mother of evils, because it encompasses, includes in it all kinds of evil which are found in the society. If you know and understand that the one whose mind and intellect gets covered because of intoxication, when he drinks alcohol, perhaps he will go and kill people. He will go and he'll transgress against people. He will go and he will do zina. All of these things, they occur in the society because of khamr. And this is something which is not hidden and which is not unknown. Sharia has come with the prohibition of alcohol. Why? In order to protect the intellect of the people. And again, this is from amongst the maqasidu sharia. This is from amongst the maqasidu sharia, to preserve the life, to preserve the honor and dignity, to preserve the lineage, to preserve the intellect, and to preserve the wealth. These are the five maqasid of sharia. So Islam has come to preserve them, because there is benefit to the society when it is preserved. And this is the reason sharia has come up with punishment of flogging the one who commits this act. Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu says that once a man was brought to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam who has drunk alcohol. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam flogged him bi jarida. Jarida is the stem, not stem, branch. If you remove the, have you seen the branches of the date pine tree? They are very thick, quite thick. If you, like, it is kind of a structure like this. We used to draw a lot in the school, such kind of structure, like not exactly like this, but I forgot, it's something like this, and we used to draw it like how the date palm tree looks like. So if you remove these, like these leaf like structures from that branch, you will get this center piece, this one, and it is very hard, very thick. So such kind of thing is known as jarida. It was used to flog this person nahwa 40, yani close to 40 lashes, 40 flogs. Then Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu says that the same punishment continued to be there during the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, around close to 40 lashes. But when it was the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, he consulted the people, yani the companions, the big companions who were present during his time, because Islam had spread to the corners of the world during the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. So many people, they entered into the fold of Islam, and most of them, since they came from different religions, they still had this the viruses of the previous ideologies which they had. And because in their sharai drinking of alcohol was permitted, when they came into Islam, they brought these practices as well along with them. So amongst them were men who used to drink despite coming into the folds of Islam. So in order to prevent them from committing this crime, Umar radiallahu anhu consulted the companions. Because why did he consult? Why he did not stick to 40 lashes? Because these 40 lashes which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he flogged this man with, it was his action. It was not an explicit statement that when somebody drinks alcohol, lash him 40 lashes. It was not an explicit statement. Rather, it was a fair action of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and therefore it was not binding upon those after them to stick to this. This is the reason Umar radiallahu anhu, he consulted the companions who were present during his time. So he consulted them, and Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu, he was from amongst the Al-Ashra Al-Mubashirina bil Jannah, those 10 who were giving the glad tidings in one majlis, he was amongst them. He said that the least punishment is 40 lashes. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he commanded that this person be lashed with 40 lashes. Okay, so this was the logic behind this. Then he says, Hadith 359, an Abi al-Burdata, an Abi al-Burdata, Hani ibn Niyarin al-Balawi radiyallahu anhu, أنه سمع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول لا يجلد فوق عشرة أصوات إلا في حد من حدود الله, that none should be lashed or flogged more than 10 flogs except uh, if except in any of the known punishments, yani no other punishment, yani if he has committed a crime which is not from those crimes for which a capital punishment or the any kind of punishment exists in Islam, then the qadi will decide the punishment. But if the punishment is flogging, it should not increase beyond 10 flogs. If it is a crime which is not the one for which a punishment has been mentioned in the Sharia, in the Quran or in the Sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, then one must not exceed more than 10 flogs if flogging is the punishment which is given. Now, وهذا الحديث لأهل العلم في معناه كلام طويل. Yani he's saying that scholars have spoken at great length in this hadith. However, the meaning which is most nearest to truth concerning this hadith is that, which is the opinion adopted by Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, as well as Shaykh Abdul Aziz Ibn Baz rahimahullah, that here hudud means al murad bil hudud huna, yani he says wa yukhladu fawqa illa fi haddin min hududillah, illa fi haddin, in this statement illa fi haddin min hududillah, al murad bil hudud here is ma'asi, sins, any sin if a person commits which Allah has made it haram. Like Allah says, Tilka hududullahi fala taqrabu. These are the limits of Allah, so do not cross them or transgress them. So in this hadith, the word hudud, it means ma'asi, punishment, any kind of sin. So fal murad bil hudud fi hadith ma'asi, laysa al murad bil hudud al muqaddara. Here hudud does not mean that those punishment for which the Sharia has already legislated some kind of punishment, like slandering or accusing someone of zina, which is known as qazf, for which there are 80 lashes or flogs, or drinking of alcohol, or theft, or zina, and similar kind of punishments. But it is any kind of masi. If a person commits a sin, then the qazi, it goes back to the decision of the qazi. وهذا القول يجوز الزيادة على 10. So according to this opinion, the Sheikh is saying, which is the opinion adopted by Sheikhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah as well as Abdul Aziz bin Baz rahimahumullah, then can go beyond 10 also. It can go beyond more than 10 also. If a person commits a sin, but he has not committed a sin for which there is already a capital punishment in the Sharia. Any other punishment other than for which there is there is a punishment in the Sharia. As the Hakim or the Qazi will deem fit in order to deter or in order to discipline this person. Likewise, lakin إذا كان العقوبة من أجل التعذيب. So this is for a crime. This is for a sin. 10 flogs, or it also goes back to the discernment of the qazi. Whatever he deem fit, he will give punishment, even more than 10. However, if it is, this punishment is for disciplining a child, and a father or a mother, if they are disciplining a child, and if they are flogging him, then it should not increase more than 10, because it is not sin. He did not commit a sin, they are only trying to discipline him. So in that case, they will not exceed 10. This is what the hadith means, that it should not exceed 10 is in ma'asi, which a person commits them such that these sins are less than those crimes for which there is already a capital punishment in the Sharia. Then Kitabul Aymaan wa Nudur. Hadith number 360 and Abdurrahman ibn Sumarata. Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Abdurrahman ibn Sumarata, لا تسأل الإمارة فإنك إن أوتيتها عن مسألة وكلت إليها وإن أوتيتها عن غير مسألة أعنت عليها وإذا حلفت على يمين فرأيت غيرها خيرا منها فكفر عن يمينك وأت الذي هو خير. Now the Musannif rahimahullah, he started into the chapter of Kitabul Ayman wa Nudur. Ayman wa Nuzur, chapter of oaths and vows. Chapter concerning oaths and vows. Oath, Ayman, it is the plural for Yamin. Ayman is the plural for Yamin. And the term Yamin refers to swearing or taking an oath. And it was called Yamin literally, meaning right hand. Yamin is right hand. Because in the past, when the people would make an agreement or pledge, each person would take the right hand of the other, grasping it firmly as a sign of commitment before making the oath. This act led to naming of the oath as Yamin. So, the purpose of an oath, why a person takes an oath or Yamin, is to emphasize and affirm the statement being sworn upon by invoking the name of Allah or one of His attributes. The concept of swearing is rooted in the idea of glorifying the one being sworn by. Hence, when a person makes an oath, they say phrases such as Wallahi, by Allah, or for example, wa izzatillahi or bi izzatillahi. They use such kind of phrase, or allazi nafsi bi yadihi, by the one in whose hand my soul is. All of these are ways in which a person he takes an oath. So these phrases are used to emphasize the truthfulness, certainty, or validity of what is being said. And for this reason, لا يجوز الحلف إلا بالله لأن التعظيم إنما هو لله سبحانه وتعالى. For this reason, it is impermissible to swear by anyone or anything other than Allah, because true glorification it belongs to Allah alone. This is why in this section the prohibition against swearing by anything other than Allah will be discussed as well, and it is considered a form of shirk, which is to associate partners with Allah. So Musannif rahimahullah, in this chapter, he narrates this Abdurrahman ibn Sumara radiyallahu anhu. He is advising him, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is advising him that, Ya Abdurrahman ibn Sumara, la tas'al al imara, and do not ask for leadership. Do not ask for leadership. This means that one should not seek to be appointed to a position of authority. So the term imara, leadership, here refers to governance or authority, whether in a general sense, yani ruling over a nation or a region, or a specific one also, such as heading a department or an organization. And don't ask for yourself. Prophet Muhammad said, do not ask for leadership. La tas'al al imara. Don't ask for it. Do not seek to be placed in charge of people, or request such a position for yourself. Now, why is this prohibited? Rasulullah SAW explained. He says, فَإِنَّكَ إِنْ أُتِيتَهَا أَنْ مَسْأَلَةٍ وُكِّلَتْ إِلَيْهَا. Yani if you are given authority because you ask for it, you will be left to it without divine support. This is what is mean. Wukkilta ilayha means you will be left to it without the divine support coming in from Allah to you. Which means if a person attains leadership through personal pursuit, ambition, and desire, they will be left to handle it on their own without divine assistance. And this is a form of deprivation, as stated in one of the hadiths, man ta'allaka shay'an wukkila ilayhi. Yani ta'allaka means tamimatan, the one who hangs something in his neck with the in a hope to be protected from evils or something. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said wukkila ilayhi, this person will be left to that particular thing, while this thing has no power to prevent you from any harm or to help you achieve any kind of benefit. And this is a great deprivation. Person is deprived of every kind of good. Then he says, "Wa in utita." Then he says, "Wa in utitaha an ghairi masalatin." But if you are given authority without asking for it, you will be assisted in it. U'inta alayha, you will be assisted in it. That is, if others they recognize a person's capability and competence and integrity, and they are appointed without seeking the position, then Allah will help them in fulfilling their responsibilities. So the key difference here is, if a person seeks leadership, they are left to manage it alone without divine assistance. And if a person is appointed without seeking it, Allah aids them in their role. Allah aids them in their role. Are there any exceptions to it? The scholars they discussed it. That are there any exceptions? Is it, yeah, or is absolutely prohibited for anyone to not ask for these positions of governance and things of that nature? The scholars they made an exception in cases where a person, there are three conditions. A person knows they are qualified for the position, number one. Number two, they have a sincere intention to serve, benefit the people, and remove injustice. Number three, seeks leadership purely for the sake of improving the affairs of society. If these conditions are met, then such a person may take on leadership and Allah will assist them accordingly. This is why Yusuf alayhi salam, he says, Ij'alni ala khaza'inil ardi. Appoint me over the storehouse of the land. He said to the king who was there. Then he says, Inni hafizun alim. Indeed, I am knowledgeable and trustworthy guardian. Why did he say this? Prophet Yunus alayhi salam, he requested authority, but not out of personal ambition. Rather, his intention was to preserve the wealth of the nation, prevent corruption, and serve the people justly, because He interpreted the dream, which shows that he had the idea of how to store the things and help the people from that famine and drought like situation. And thus Yusuf alayhi salam was assisted by Allah in his role, though he presented himself as a very strong contender of this post of a governor, if you'd like to call it that way. So in most cases, those who seek leadership, they do so for personal motives, such as fame, status, prestige, power. And because of this, they are often abandoned and not supported by Allah in their position. On the other hand, those who assume uh, leadership with sincerity without seeking it and with the intention of benefiting people, they are aided by Allah in their responsibilities. So he says, فَإِذَا حَلَفْتَ عَلَى يَمِينٍ, that if at all, if ever you take an oath. This is the reason why Musannif Rahimullah brought in this hadith in this chapter for this statement. If at all you were to take an oath, so what you do, yani wa iza, if at all you have taken an oath, if you took an oath, wara'aita fara'aita ghayraha khayran minha, yani if you took an oath that by Allah I will not visit such and such person, by Allah I will not give such and such person, or by Allah I will not do such and such thing. If a person has taken an oath and then he finds out that opposite to it is better, which means visiting this person is better, giving this person is better, doing this particular act is better. If he finds this out, then what he should do, he should expire for his oath, break his oath, expire for it, and do the opposite of it. فَكَفِّرْ an yaminika wa'ti allazi huwa khair, and come up with that which is better. وعلاقة كما ذكر بعض أهل العلم هذا بالنهي عن طلب الإمارة فيما لو كان المرء في هذا الباب حلف. يعني why is it that this hadith has been mentioned in this chapter? The scholars, they mentioned the wisdom, because for example, if a person takes an oath that I will never take the charge, I will never take the charge of this place or in this company, I will not never take the charge of as a head of the department, or I will never become a ruler of this particular state, if he takes an oath, but then later it became clear and apparent to this person, if it will become apparent to this person that his taking the charge and governance is better, then he should expire for his oath, break it, and instead take the charge and go ahead. This is the reason this hadith has been mentioned in this chapter. وَإِذَا حَلَفْتَ عَلَى يَمِينٍ فَرَأَيْتَ غَيْرَهَا خَيْرًا مِنْهَا فَكَفِّرْ عَنْ يَمِينِكَ. Then break your oath, expire for it after breaking your oath, and then uh, commit that thing which is better than the oath which you took. This is what it means. Now, this kafaratul yamin, what is it? What is the kafara? What is the expiation that is to be given? It is upon choice. You can do one of the three things. And if you cannot do one of these three things, then you shift to fasting for 3 days. So, what are these three things? Number one, either you have to set a slave free, or you have to feed 10 poor people, masakin, or you have to clothe these 10 poor people. This is the expiation of an oath. But if you are not able to do any one of these three, then only you will shift to fasting for 3 days. Unfortunately, there are people, what they do, they immediately, if they break an oath, they immediately fast for 3 days. No, and if and when only you become, if it is not possible for you to do one of these three things, then only you shift to fasting for 3 days. But if you are able to set a slave free, which is not possible nowadays, then feed 10 poor people or clothe 10 poor people. If you are not able to do any of these three, then only you will fast for 3 days. Then Musannif rahimahullah brought in hadith 361 and Abi Musa al-Ashari radiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam inni wallahi insha'allahu la ahlifu ala yaminin فأرى غيرها خيرا منها إلا أتيت الذي هو خير وتحللتها. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, indeed I, by Allah, insha'Allah, if Allah wills, la ahlifu ala yaminin, I will never take an oath. La ahlifu ala yaminin. Or it could also mean that if I were to take an oath ever, fa'ara, and if I find something else better than it, or if I find the opposite of what I took an oath upon better than it, I will break my oath and I will expire for it, and I'll do the thing which is better. So watahallaltuha means I will, the previous hadith explains the meaning of tahallaltuha. It means I will expiate for it, yani this yameen, this oath, and I will commit the one which is better. This ummah is an ummah upon which Allah has shown mercy. Allah has lessened many things, lightened many things from this ummah, which were not there in the previous nation. In the previous nation, if you see the story of Ayyub alayhi salam, when he took an oath to beat his wife 100 beats or 100 lashes or 100 times, Allah says, now there is no other option. He cannot expire for it by, freeing a slave or feeding 10 people or clothing 10 people, or then if it is not possible, fasting for 3 days. This was not there in the previous nations. Rather, if they have taken an oath, they must do it. So what Allah commanded him to do, okay, collect 10 sticks or 100 sticks, combine them together and beat your wife once with it. So you would have acted upon your oath. And he has to do it because there was nothing like expiating for the oath. But this nation of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we, Allah has shown mercy upon this nation, that we have been given this option. We have been given this option of expiating the oath if we are not able to fulfill it. And then Sheikh says, see this, after saying all of these things towards the end of the ayah, what did Allah say? Ni'mal abdu innahu awwab, yani Ayyub alayhi salam, how good slave Ayyub alayhi salam is. Indeed he is awwab, yani he turns in repentance to Allah, time after other, keeps on turning towards Allah, awwab. So he is addressing Ayyub alayhi salam as abd. And he says, وَمِن فَضْلِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى أَنَّ قَوْلَ اللَّهِ abdi yatakarrar lil abd al mu'min min qira'ati, yani this is a great, an achievement. If Allah calls you his slave, it is a great achievement. Yani Allah calling you my slave, abdi, it is a great achievement. And this is something which Allah addresses you every time when you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, 17 times in a day at least 17 times in a day. When you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, in every prayer, Allah addresses you with this, abdi, abdi. Alhamdulillah, when you say, Allah says, Hamidani Abdi, my slave has praised me. When you say Al Rahman Rahim, he says, Asna Aliyya Abdi. When you say Maliki Yawmiddin, he says, Majjadani Abdi. So this is actually a great honor, and person must perceive this when he is reciting Surah Al Fatiha in his prayers. Hadith 362 an Umar ibn al Khattab radiyallahu anhu qala qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna Allah yanhaakum an tahlifu bi abaikum wa li muslimin faman kana halifan falyahlif billahi aw liyasmut. وفي رواية قال عمر فوالله ما حلفت بها منذ سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ينهى عنها ذاكرا ولا آسرا. And then he explains the meaning of asiran, which we'll see when you go into the explanation. So Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, he narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Allah prohibits you from taking oath with your fathers. Antahlifu bi abaikum. Now this prohibition is this not only for fathers, but it includes any kind of makhluk, fathers, mothers, or any other makhluk, anything other than Allah, you cannot take an oath upon it. Why did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mention only fathers? Because it was very common amongst them, and this is the reason Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned it. Or there is also one incident wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam found Umar radiyallahu anhu taking oath upon his father, and hence he said this hadith, that beware, indeed Allah, he prohibits you and prevents you from taking oaths by your fathers. If at all someone were to take an oath, then let him take an oath by Allah, by his names or his attributes, or he should remain silent. So this is the purpose, this is the reason for mentioning the fathers, because it was common amongst them to take oath by fathers. And we saw earlier, why would somebody take an oath? He would take an oath because he considered that person to be great in his sight, and he wants people to believe in him, trust him. This is the reason he uses someone's name who he knows that if I'll take the name of this person, they would understand that I cannot take a false oath upon someone who I venerate and consider to be great. So people will believe you. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, "Faman kana halifan falyahli billahi aw liyasmut." If at all you want to take an oath, then take an oath by Allah, His names and attributes, or else you keep silent. In azama ala halafi, if at all you are determined to take an oath, take it by Allah. Otherwise, remain silent. Don't take an oath initially to begin with. Do not take an oath. This is not something which is good. But if at all it is a matter which requires you to take an oath, then take it by Allah. Because taking an oath by Ghairullah, it is actually it is actually from amongst those doors which from the doors of shirk. It opens up the doors to shirk. It opens up the doors to shirk. لهذا صح في حديث عن نبينا عليه الصلاة والسلام أنه قال من حلف بغير الله فقد كفر أو أشرك. The one who takes an oath by غير, then this person has either disbelieved or has committed shirk. Now this oath, either it is he's taking an oath of an angel or a prophet or any righteous man or a wali or heavens or the earth or the fathers, grandfathers, mothers, whosoever he may be. If he takes an oath by other than Allah, he has disbelieved or he has committed shirk. Now this shirk is shirk asghar. This shirk is shirk asghar. Taking an oath upon Allah, oath upon Ghairullah is shirk asghar. But if the person who is taking an oath, if he considers this person by whose name he is taking an oath, if he considers him at the same level of greatness and ta'zeem which Allah holds, then he has committed shirk akbar, which will take him out of the fold of Islam. And especially the Sufiyas, those deviant sects and the people who walk upon those deviant paths, they venerate their awliya, those who consider them to be awliya, they venerate them more than how they venerate Allah Himself. They venerate them more than the veneration of Allah, the veneration of Allah which is there in their heart. Sheikh says that once he was reading a book about such kind of people, those who turn towards graves and such kind of things. So in that book, Sheikh says that there was a mention of a man who was required to take an oath by Allah. Mention of a person who they said that this man now has to take an oath by Allah. Something happened. So this man, he took an oath by Allah. But then his opponent, the other person who wanted him to take an oath, he demanded that he also swear by a certain sheikh or a saint or a wali. So the man complied and he swore by the saint as well. Upon hearing this, one of those who were present, Ahadul Hadirin, he became angry. One of those who were present, after his listening this, he became angry. One of the person who was there in the majlis, who was witnessing all this incident. So the sheikh is saying, so when I first read it, yani he right at that moment he thought that maybe this person, he may have got angry because this person sworn or took an oath by Ghairullah. This is the reason this person got angry and stood up. However, later on when he read the book, he found that the reason for anger was different. This person who got angry, he said, you swear by this saint, this wali, knowing that he knows you are lying. Do you understand? This response reveals a grave form of shirk. When the man initially swore by Allah, no one objected. But when he swore by the saint, the wali, it angered the attendee, not because he swore by Ghairullah, but because he believed the saint had knowledge of the unseen and could expose his lie. So it is as if he knew that this person is taking a false oath, and he did not objected when he took the false oath by Allah. But he immediately objected when this person took a false oath by their own, by this wali. And this is major shirk. This is major shirk. The one who takes an oath by Ghairullah, considering that Ghairullah to have the same ta'zim and greatness as that of Allah, it takes a person out of the fold of Islam. It shows that these people, they held a great reverence for the wali than for Allah. They did not react when he swore falsely by Allah, but they objected strongly when he swore falsely by the saint, implying they feared the saint, this wali, more than they feared Allah. Also, they believed the saint, the wali, had supernatural knowledge, that he could detect a lie detector, lie detector wali, if you'd like to call. So this belief grants divine attributes to the wali, which is shirk in Allah's attributes, al asma wa sifat. Also, they feared the saints' wrath and anger and punishment more than they feared Allah's punishment. This also indicates a form of hidden shirk in fear, in khawf, khawf as-sir, as they called, al khawf as-sir. This is shirk al akbar, and also reliance tawakkul, as they attributed power to a creation rather than to the creator. Swearing by other than Allah is minor shirk if done without belief in divine powers. However, if someone believes that the one they swear by has divine authority, supernatural knowledge, or power over the unseen, it becomes major shirk, which expels a person from Islam. So, Prophet Muhammad, this is the reason he said in one of the hadiths that whoever swears by other than Allah has committed shirk. Whoever swears by other than Allah, then this person has committed shirk. So, swearing by Allah or by anyone other than Allah, whether a wali or a nabi or Abba, Ajdad, ancestors, fathers, forefathers, or any being is strictly forbidden. And if it is accompanied by a belief in their divine power, it is an act of major shirk that takes a person out of the fold of Islam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, "Fi riwayatin qala Umaru fa wallahi ma halaftu." This is how quickly the companions they would act upon the advice of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Umar radiallahu anhu, he says immediately, "Fa wallahi, by Allah, ma halaftu biha munzu samitu Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam yanha anha zakiran wala asi." Yani from that day, the moment I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying this, that anhaakumullahu, Allah prohibits you and prevents you from taking oaths over ghairullah. He said, from that day, the moment I heard, I stopped doing this. I did not, fawallahi ma halaftu, I did not took an oath. I did not take an oath. This shows how quick they were in responding. How quick they were in responding to the command of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Many people they develop a habitual way of speaking, and their tongues they become accustomed to swearing by created beings, like it has become a normal habit. When presented with the authentic Islamic texts, nusus, they may understand and accept the prohibition against swearing by anyone other than Allah ghairullah. However, due to habit, their tongues may still slip into using such oaths. Sheikh is now narrating one more incident, hatta min al qasas allati turwa an shakhsan. He says that a man used to swear by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he used to say bin nabi, one nabi, likewise. He has an habit of swearing by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when another person explained the correct ruling to him with evidence, this person understood and accepted the prohibition. However, out of sheer habit, when emphasizing his sincerity, he swore by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam again, ironically, yani swearing by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he would never swear by Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam again. Why? Because habituated of doing it. So he actually wanted to prevent him or stop, wanted to stop from this habit. So in doing so, he naturally again took an oath by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I will not take the oath of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ever in the future. But here you listen to what Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu is doing. Compare this to Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Before Islam, his tongue was accustomed to swearing by Allah and other things. However, he narrates that from the moment he heard the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibiting swearing by anyone other than Allah, he never did it again. Not only did he avoid swearing by anything other than Allah, but he also ensured that he never slipped into it, even by accident. Even by accident, he never slips into it or slipped into it, even by accident. He also mentions he never repeated someone else's word. This is what is the meaning of asiran. This word, zakiran, knowingly taking an oath. This is very clear. Once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said no, they ended it. What is the meaning of asiran? The meaning of Athiran is he never repeated someone else's words also if they included an oath by other than Allah. In the form of narration also, he would never do that. He never narrated a story that contained such an oath unless he changed the wording. This strong adherence to the ruling and immediate self-discipline shows a high level of sincerity and obedience. The lives of the Sahaba, of the righteous predecessors, the Aslaf, such as the Sahaba, first and the foremost among them are the companions, serve as an example for self discipline and character development. Their actions show the rapid obedience to divine commands, complete internalization of Islamic teachings, and strict avoidance of anything that could lead to sin. Such examples inspire us to train ourselves to change bad habits and adopt correct Islamic practices just as they did. Then the Musannif rahimahullah he says Hadith 363 an Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu an Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam qala Sulaiman ibn Dawood alayhi assalam. This is the incident which I'm sure you definitely would have heard of it, concerning Sulaiman alayhi salam visiting his 70 or around 90 wives in one night. La atufanna al-laylata ala sab'ina imra'atan talidu kullu imra'atin minhunna ghulaman yuqatilu fi sabilillah. Sulaiman alayhi salam, he took an oath that I will, this is a way of taking an oath, la atufanna, that I will definitely, atufanna means to go to each and every wife. Okay, let us read from here. La atufanna laylata ala sab'ina imratan, that I will definitely go in one night to all of my 70 women, yani 70 wives. In another narration, it has come 90 wives, 70 or 90. In their Sharia, In their legislation, there was no limit to maximum number of wives which one could take. So Sulaiman alayhi salam had 70 or 90 wives. So he takes an oath that I will go to each of my wives in one night with the intention of having a physical relationship with her, such that talidu kullu imratin minhunna gulaman, such that each of my wife, 70 or 90, she will bear a child, such that this child, when he'll grow up, he'll fight in the cause of Allah, fi sabilillah. So his intention was good. His intention was good to approach his wives in one night, so that this child, when he grows up, he'll fight in the way of Allah. A righteous intention of going or doing physical relationship with one's wife. However, he did not say inshallah. So waqila lahu, faqila lahu inshallah. Yani some angel said, qala lahul malak. An angel said to him or reminded him that you should say inshallah. But falam yaqul. He did not say. Yani because he was so sure, he was so certain, and yani he was so much, like determined to go ahead with this act, that he did not say inshallah. فقام في قلبه هذا الأمور, yani he was very determined inside of him, and he did not say inshallah. And obviously this is again for a great wisdom of Allah, uh, because Allah wanted to teach us something through this incident. ومن الحكمة التي قد تتلمس في مثل هذا الموقف أن العبد مهما على, yani from amongst the wisdom is that howsoever great status a person may reach in the sight of Allah, he must pay great attention to the alfaz and the askar. Yani he must pay great attention to the words of remembrance, the shari, the legislative azkar. He must pay great attention to them. He must not belittle these azkar which the sharia has given us, because there are great benefits in them. Do not belittle them. Even a single word, even a single harf of it, do not belittle them. This word inshallah, yes, it is composed of three letters or three words, in and sha and Allah. However, haza min anbiya illah, this Sulaiman al Islam was from the prophets of Allah, in fact from amongst the most chosen people of his. He did not say this small like statement, and then Allah tasted him because of it. He went to 70 or 90 of his wives. None of them gave birth to a child except for one, and that too half human. Half human. Allah says concerning in Surah Sad, ayah number 34, you can go and read this uh, translation of it and tafsir of it. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا سُلَيْمَانَ وَأَلْقَيْنَا عَلَى كُرْسِيِّهِ جَسَدًا ثُمَّ أَنَابَ. So this indicates that how important these azkar and supplications are in a person's life. Do not belittle smallest of the supplication. You never know what kind of great good it can bring in. Inshallah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, la ilaha illallah, alhamdulillah, subhanallah. Here, Sulaiman al Islam, he did not say inshallah. Falam yakul. Fa'atafa bihinna. He went ahead with his determination, approached each of his wife in one night, 70 or 90 of them. None of them bear child except for one woman, and even the child which she gave birth to, it was half human. Yani it did not come out a complete child, a complete human being. So هذا مثل ما قدمت فيه موعظة فيه عظة للصالحين والأولياء وعباد الله المتقين أنهم مهما كانت إنسان, يعني whatever level a person reaches in the sight of Allah, be it a prophet, be it a Rasul, uh, any righteous man, a wali, or whosoever he may be, he must not or he must pay attention, or he must give due right and respect to the azkar and alfaz al-shar'iyya which are reported in the Sharia, in order to be rightly guided in the dunya as well as in the hereafter. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لو قال, Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, had he said. And in this situation the use of love is allowed. Yani Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم is hoping fit ta'lim, in the situation of teaching and education and explanation and explaining things, use of love is allowed. That if he would have said inshallah lam yahnas, if he would have said this, then he would not have broken his oath. He would not have broken his oath. If he had said inshallah, he would not have broken his oath. Lam yahnas. This teaches us a valuable lesson. The phrase inshallah has great benefit. in ensuring that a person achieves their goal and desire. This phrase carries immense significance because when one says inshallah, they trust their affair to Allah and His will. They acknowledge their own weakness and inability. They declare their dependence on Allah's power rather than their own effort, striving, or planning. By saying inshallah, a person expresses their determination to act while also recognizing that its fulfillment is in Allah's hands alone. This blessed phrase is truly profound as it reflects the complete submission to Allah's will and is a means of achieving divine support and success. The hadith, the hadith, it clearly demonstrates that saying inshallah brings great benefit in fulfilling a person's goals. Why? Because the Prophet Muhammad, he what did he mention? لو قال inshallah lam yahnas wakana darakan lihajatihi. Had he said inshallah, he would not have broken his oath and it would have been a means for him to achieve his need. Wakana darakan li hajati. What is the meaning of darakan li hajati? Yani sababan li idraki hajati. It would have become, and his saying inshallah would have become a means of achieving his goal. What was his goal? His goal was to have children from each wife. So he would have attained that goal if he would have said this thing. Also, from this hadith, a person gains a great lesson in the matter of tawheed. This was Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, a prophet, son of a prophet, yet the control of matters was still in Allah's hands. Look at his determination, his ambition, his diligence, striving, and noble intentions. Yet, despite all of this, nothing happened except by what Allah had decreed. So, what can be said about those who turn to awliya, salihin, those who are in the graves, and seek their needs from them, even to the point that they visit their graves to ask for help? This still happens to this day. Uh, Somebody narrated, Sheikh is saying that somebody from amongst those who were attending the durus, his students, one of them, he mentions to the Sheikh about the country he visited, wherein this student, he saw a grave with crowds of men and women gathered around it. So he approached them and began to ask, what is happening here? So he was told that one woman had come seeking a child, another was asking for household utensils because she had none at home, another was ill and seeking a cure. They were all devotedly gathered around the grave, asking from it what should only be asked from Allah alone. The prophets themselves, who hold the highest and the noblest ranks among creation, had no control over the matters of faith. Allah said to Prophet ﷺ, "Laysa laka min al-amri shay'un." You have no authority over the matter. This means that all affairs, they belong solely to Allah. One should turn to Allah alone in need. One should only place their trust and tawakkul and reliance upon Allah alone. One should only seek help from Allah alone. This hadith, it teaches us a fundamental principle of Tawheed. The control of all matters, they belong solely to Allah, and no one, neither the closest of Allah's creations from amongst the angels nor the prophets, has any share in it, let alone those who are lesser than them. Hadith 364. عن عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من حلف على يمين صبر يقتطع بها مال امرئ مسلم هو فيها فاجر لقي الله هو عليه غضبان إلى آخر الحديث. Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said that whoever swears a false oath, yamin as-sabr, false oath, in order to unlawfully take the wealth of a Muslim while knowingly lying, will face severe consequences. What is yamin as-sabr? Yamin as-sabr, false oath of persistence. Yamin as-sabr. It it refers to an oath in which a person stubbornly insists on their false claim, using the oath to seize the right of another. Okay, this oath is attributed to sabr, persistence, sabr. Why? Because the person clings to it and refuses to retract their claim. Such a person swears repeatedly and persistently to make their lie appear truthful, uses this false oath to take someone else's wealth or rights, keeps this unlawfully taken property for years, maybe even until death, knowing full well it does not belong to them. So the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he called this as what? Yameen Fajira, a wicked oath, meaning a deliberate act of sin. So why? Because he knows. This person knew that he is lying. So when we say that it is a Yameen Fajira, which means this person knew. that this right does not belong to him, still he is persistent upon taking it. So it is a deliberate act of sin because the person knows they are lying. Also, it is a means of oppressing others because it is used to take what rightfully belongs to someone else. Now, what is the severity of this sin? A person may hold on to wealth for years, perhaps even until their death, knowing it was obtained through falsehood. Prophet Muhammad emphasized that this act is not excusable due to ignorance. This person is fajir, a deliberate sinner, meaning they knowingly commit this injustice. Such a person invites Allah's punishment upon themselves, Allah's ghadab, as they steal through deception and falsehood. So this person, laqi Allahu wa huwa alayhi ghadban, this person will meet Allah in a state that Allah would be angry with this person. And وَنَزَلَتْ, then this ayah was revealed. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَشْتَرُونَ بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ وَأَيْمَانِهِمْ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا أُولَٰئِكَ لَا خَلَاقَ لَهُمْ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ, in Surah Al-Imran. That those who purchase yashtaruna bi ahdillahi, by taking false oaths upon Allah, they purchase wa aymanihim, by their false oath, taking like oaths by Allah, a little price, saman and qalilan, then know that these people have no portion in the hereafter. No portion in the hereafter. And add to it the punishment, wala yukallimuhullah, Allah will not speak to them. Allah will not look towards them on the day of resurrection, neither will Allah purify them from your sins, from their sins, and they will have a painful punishment. So many punishments. You see the punishments one after the other, which a person will receive just because of what? He purchased for a small worldly price, he took and sold himself and his oath. Mana yashtari bihadillah means yashtari dunya biddeen. He sold his religion for the sake of dunya. He did not pay attention. He did not pay attention to his religion. If religion is wasted and it goes to waste, he doesn't bother. He doesn't bother. Why? Just for the sake of earning some little price of the dunya. And the punishment is, he will face Allah in a situation on the day of resurrection that Allah would be angry upon this person. This is punishment is for the one who did not repent in the dunya, but the one who repents and he dies before repenting. But if he repents before dying and he returns the rights to the people, the rightful owners, and repents to Allah, then Allah will also forgive this person, because tawbah, it wipes out all sins. Then Hadith 365, Anil Ash'as ibn Qaisin radiyallahu anhu قال كان بيني وبين رجل خصومة في بئر فاختصمنا إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم شاهدك أو يمينه إلى آخر الحديث. Okay, in this hadith, Ash'as ibn Qais radiyallahu anhu, he says that there was a man, yani between him, Ash'as ibn Qais, and another man, there was a dispute concerning a well. Each one of them were claiming that well to be belonging to him. To yani each one, yani Ash'as ibn Qais said this well belongs to me. The other person also claimed the same. So they brought their dispute to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to Ash'as ibn Qais radiyallahu anhu, Shahidaka, bring your witnesses. Bring the witness that this well, it belongs to you. Obviously, you need the witness. Aw yaminuhu, or bring in an oath. So there is a qaida in the Sharia. We studied this in, if you remember, in Arba'in and Nawawiyah as well, that the muddai, the one who is claiming some right, he has to bring in the witness. Witness is his responsibility, the one who is claiming some right. While the one who is denying the right, he only has to take the oath, that I take oath by Allah, what he is saying is not correct. This is what the other person has to say, against who you are charging or coming with some charge. Okay, so the witness is upon the one who is accusing the other with something, or he is claiming some right. So this is the muddai, and the mudda alayhi, yani the one against whom you are charging or accusing him of something, it is mudda alayhi. He only has to take an oath. So here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Shahidaka yaminuhu, yani either bring the witness, you, the one who is claiming, yani both of you, since each one of you are claiming that this thing belongs to you, so both of you, if you have any witness, then bring it. If you don't have witness, then take an oath that by Wallahi this belongs to me. So Ash'as ibn Qais radiallahu anhu, he says that because he did not had any witness, so he says that idan yahlifu wala yubal. In that case, the opposite person, he will take an oath. He'll not pay attention to anything, yani, because the other person, he was fajir, he was a open sinner. The one who was also claiming the well, he was a fajir, and we saw who's a fajir is a person who's fajir. We saw earlier, he's someone uh, who knows that he this right doesn't belong to him, and still he claims. So such a person, he can take a false oath, and he'll not pay attention to anything. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Man halafa ala yamini sabarin yaqtatiu biha mal imri'in." This is exactly the what we saw earlier, that whoever takes a false oath deliberately, knowing that the right that he is claiming does not belong to him, and by means of this oath, if he tries to steal and take wealth of other Muslim person, وَهُوَ فِيهَا فَاجِرٌ, while he knows that he is liar in such a claim, then he will meet Allah in a situation that Allah is angry with him. From this, the ulama, the scholars, they took a principle. They say that the qazi or the waliul amr or whoever is ruling and judging between the people, even before giving the ruling, he must admonish the people, mau'iza. He must tell them such kind of thing before actually passing on the ruling, that no, the punishment of Allah is true, it will come upon you, have fear of Allah, don't uh, take wealth of somebody else unlawfully, unjustly, such and such thing happen. Even before passing on the ruling, try to instill fear in their hearts of Allah. If they repent and turn back, alhamdulillah. If they don't, then you go ahead and give the like ruling in the light of the evidences. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, man halafa ala yamini sabarin yaqtatiu biha mal imri'in muslimin huwa fiha fajirun laqiyallaha azza wa jalla wa huwa alayhi ghadaban. Here the word mal imri'in muslimin has come. However, this is mostly in case, because in that atmosphere, and if we are talking about the time when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was alive, they were Muslims. Almost most of them have accepted Islam. They were Muslims mostly. But this does not mean that it is only that it only a Muslim person's wealth you should not take unjustly, but it applies to everyone, like even non-Muslims. You cannot take their wealth unjustly. But this was mostly the cases, and this is the reason only mention of Muslim is there. But you are not supposed to take the wealth of anyone wrongfully. ومما يستفاد من الحديث أن حكم الحاكم يرفع الخلاف في الظاهر، يعني يحسم القضية هذا لك وهذا لك وحاكم يحكم بما يظهر. يعني he says that the hakim, he is a human being. He gives ruling on the apparent, what he sees apparently. However, internally, fi batin ma hakama, it may happen that he may have ruled in favor of the person who was not actually the owner of the thing which he is claiming. He may rule in his favor. Lakin, however, the hakim will only rule on the apparent, because internals and interior, it only Allah only knows about it. A man, probably he is a sinner, an open sinner, he is a liar, he may take oath in front of the qadi, in front of the hakim, while the other person, he does not have evidence. So the qazi may rule in favor of this fajir person because he has taken the oath. He has taken the oath, but qazi can only take decisions on the apparent. And in this case, qazi will not be held accountable in sight of Allah because he took a decision, he gave a ruling on the apparent. He may have given the right to someone who does not deserve it, but there is nothing more with the qazi at this moment, because he is ruling in the light of the evidences which are presented in front of him. These evidences may be wrong, they may be forged, as it happens. We know this. But Qazi is not held responsible for it in the sight of Allah. He has done what he was supposed to do. But know that this person who has taken the right of someone else unlawfully and unjustly, he has one day, he has to stand in front of Allah, and he will meet Allah in a state that Allah would be angry with him. Allah will not speak to him, Allah will not look at him, and he will have severe, painful punishment. And this is the reason the lawyers and such kind of people, they must pay great attention to this thing. If they are aware that they are fighting a case of someone who is a liar, they should not do it. But unfortunately, in our society, people know it, and they fight the cases, and they even help their clients. They win the cases while they know that all of it is all forged up, and it has no reality to it. So they must fear Allah. That not only that person, for who you are, like fighting the case, you as a lawyer will also be held responsible, that despite knowing all of the things, still you fought the case, you will face the same fate. Allah will not speak to you, Allah will not look at you, Allah will be angry with you, and there will be a painful punishment in the hereafter. So kharaja min qadiyati bi khasaratin azimatin fi dunyahu wa akhirahu, amma dunyahu, yani this person has lost the dunya as well as the hereafter, just because a lie. As for his dunya, annahu, yani amma dunyahu ash-shay allazi yudda'i annahu kasbuhu la barakata fi, yani the thing which he is claiming to be his in the dunya, Allah will take away the barakah and the blessings and the khair from it, which does not belong to this thing, does not belong to you. This thing does not belong to you, still you are claiming it, Allah will take away the barakah from it. Kullu jasadin qama ala suhti fannaru awla bihi. Every physical body which is being nourished with haram things, then this body is more worthy of being thrown into the fire. Fannaru awla bihi. As for the hereafter, this person will meet Allah in a state that Allah is angry with him. Allah will not speak to him. Allah will not look at him. And this person will have a painful punishment in the hereafter. So, man halafa ala yamini sabrin yaqtatiu biha mal imri'in muslimin huwa fiha fajirun laqiyallaha azza wa jalla wa huwa alayhi ghadban. So, ولهذا حقيقة مثل ما نبه العلماء القاضي يحتاج أنه في مثل هذه القضايا يعظهم ويذكرهم. As we said earlier, a qazi must remind the people even before giving the ruling. He must remind them of the greatness of the affair and the seriousness of the matter. Even before passing on the ruling, try to instill fear in their hearts. If they mend their affairs, well and good, alhamdulillah. If they don't, then go ahead and rule on the basis of the evidences which are there. Hadith 366 an Sabit ibn ad-Dahhak al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu أنه بايع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تحت الشجرة وأن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من حلف على يمين بملة غير الإسلام كاذبا متعمدا فهو كما قال ومن قتل نفسه بشيء عذب به يوم القيامة وليس على رجل نذر فيما لا يملك وفي رواية ولعن المؤمن كقتله وفي رواية من ادعى دعوى كاذبة ليتكثر بها لم يزده الله عز وجل إلا قلا. Musannif rahimahullah, he ends this chapter of Al-Aymaan wa Nuzoor with the hadith of Sabit ibn Dahhak al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu, and he was amongst those who took an oath under the tree, the famous Bay'at ar-Ridwan, wherein they went around 1500 people to perform Umrah in 6th year after Hijrah, and they were prevented from doing Umrah. Uthman radiyallahu anhu went to negotiate with the Kuffar Quraysh, and then a fake news came that Uthman radiallahu anhu has been martyred, and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took this oath from these around 1500 people who were present there to fight until they die. Amongst them was Sabit ibn ad-Dahhak al-Ansari radiallahu anhu. And Allah said concerning them, لَقَدْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذْ يُبَايِعُونَكَ تَحْتَ الشَّجَرَةِ, yani they were the people of Ridwan, yani Allah gave them the glad tidings of His pleasure. And you would have studied this in the books of Aqidah, that Ridwan of Allah, pleasure of Allah, is greater than entering into Jannah. Yani a person who enters into the Jannah, it is comparatively lesser in comparison to Allah being pleased with you. So it is a greater, a reward. So Anna Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam qala, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Man halafa ala yaminin bimillatin ghairi Islam kaziban muta'ammidan fahuwa kama qala. This is a severe threat. Yani the one who takes an oath, but he takes an oath like, the example will make it clear that wa illam yakun kaza. Yani if this happens this is very common amongst the youth. You may have heard of this, that an yaqul wal yazib billah wa huwa yahudi illam yakun kaza aw yaqulu huwa nasrani. Yani if such and such thing will not happen, then I am Nasrani, I am Yahudi. Phrases of similar nature. Or I am Majusi. If this and this thing does not happen, then consider me from such and such people. Consider me from the Nasrani. Consider me from the Majusi. Consider me from being Mulhid. Consider me from Kuffar. Consider me from Yahud. So this is known as oath bi millatin ghairi Islam, taking an oath upon an other than Islam, yani making yourself to be part of one of those religions which are not Islam, from Islam. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is saying that it is fahuwa kamakal, then he will be considered like one of those. And if he says, if this such and such thing does not happen, then I am from the Yahud or I am from the Nasrani. So according to this nation, fahuwa kamakal, then he will be as if he said. He will be considered as one of those. He'll be considered as one of those. But it is permissible for you to take oath upon Islam. Permissible because the narration says, fi millati bi millati ghairi Islam. Kaziban mutaammidan. And he knows that he is a liar in that oath, plus he is doing it deliberately. So if he says forgetfully, then he is out of this warning. Then he says, وَمَنْ قَتَلَ نَفْسَهُ بِشَيْءٍ أُذِّبَ بِهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. This is a suicide. This suicide. The one who kills himself with something, either it is a knife, or he hangs himself, or he takes poison, kills himself, then he will be punished with the same thing on the day of resurrection. With whatever mode and means he killed himself, he will be punished with the same thing. And this is something which is, uh, as he says here, the Shaykh, وَهَذَا فِي أَنَّ الْقَتْلِ النَّفْسِ جَرِيمَةٌ عَظِيمَةٌ جِدًّا. This is a great crime, suicide. بل إن القتل للنفس والقتل للغير هم أعظم جريمة بعد الشرك. يعني killing you, يعني oneself, suicide, or killing others, they are from the greatest crimes after shirk. And here comes the, the severity of the crime of these suicide bombings. So they are committing two crimes. They are killing themselves, at the same time they are killing others, innocent people. This is a great crime, and it comes immediately after shirk. These are from the greatest of sins, treated from amongst the major sins. وَلَيْسَ عَلَى رَجُلٍ نَذْرٌ فِيمَا لَا يَمْلِكُ. This is the third thing, or the second thing. Yani a person must not take vow. He must not take vow in something which he does not possess. Yani he should not say, if I succeed in my exam, then upon me, yani for Allah I have upon me, or I vow to give sadaqah of the car of my neighbor. I'll give sadaqah, as sadaqah, the car of my neighbor. Now this car of your neighbor, of your colleague, of your friend, it does not belong to you. So don't take such kinds of vow upon something which you do not possess. These are rights of people, they are not your rights. You cannot take an oath or vow upon it. In another narration, it says, وَلَعْنُ الْمُؤْمِنِ كَقَتْلِهِ. Cursing a believer is like killing him, because lan, curse, is declaring someone to be far away from the mercy of Allah. This is what lan and curse is. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says, لما يلعن والعياذ بالله مؤمنا فهو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كقتله, which means when somebody curses a believer, it is as if he has killed him. Here it doesn't mean that it literally means killing someone, but lakin kullu minhuma fihi intihaq azim, because li hurmatil mu'min, yani each of these things, yani cursing someone or killing someone, you are in both these cases, you are like playing with the sanctity of a believer's life. There is a loss of something. In the case of killing, there is loss of life. In case of curse, you are, making this person far away from the mercy of Allah. It is also a kind of great loss. So this is the reason this comparison is there. وَمَنِ ادَّعَى دَعْوَى كَاذِبًا لِيَتَكَثَّرْ بِهَا. Whoever makes a false claim in order to have abundance of that thing with him, then the opposite of it will happen. And if a person claims a false, he makes a false claim with the intention of having a status in the society, name in the society, wealth in the society, or he wants to take or usurp property of someone unjustly with the intention of having a lot of property and lot of wealth and money and name and fame and status, then what will happen? Lam yazidhu Allahu azza wa jalla illa qillatan. The opposite of it will take place. The opposite of it will take place. Instead of he getting name, fame, shohra, status in the society, wealth, property, the opposite of it will happen. And so many things of this nature have occurred, wherein a person who tried to take wealth of someone unjustly, he faces the consequences in the dunya itself. Either he will the same wealth which he earned unlawfully and unjustly, it slips out of his hand, just like as he earned it. Even more swifter and quickly it goes out of his hand. He'll have to spend in doctors. This person will see that his children are not righteous, and so many things happen of that nature. Likewise, the sheikh is also warning those who make up false forge certificates, those who forge certificates, and by means of these certificates they try to get a job. They become doctor, they become teacher in the universities, they become engineers by these fake certificates. The same ruling applies to them because they are claiming falsely a position which maybe have belonged to someone else who was more worthier of them, but they forge the certificates and they are working is these positions. Same thing applies to them as well. Hadith 367. Hadith 367 عن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه قال قلت يا رسول الله إني كنت نذرت في الجاهلية أن أعتكف ليلة وفي رواية يوما في المسجد الحرام قال فأوفي بنذرك. So this bab nazar أن يلزم المكلف نفسه ويعجب عليها ما ليس بلازم أو واجب عليه بأصل الشرع. Nazar, wow, is something which a mukallaf, a baligh, aqil person, he obligates upon himself something which the Sharia did not obligated upon this person initially. So, to obligate something upon oneself, which was not actually obligatory, this is known as nazar. This nazar either could be muqayyad or mutlaq. Muqayyad or mutlaq. So, muqayyad is like, for example, a person says, if Allah gives health to me or to my relative, then I will spend such and such amount in charity for Allah, or I'll fast for 3 days or one day or whatever. Or if I succeed in exams, then I will do so much of sadaqah and things of that nature. This is nazar muqayyid. And then you have something which is known as a nazar al mutlaq, which is not muqayyid, which is not restricted with anything. This is just a nazar. Like, for example, a person says, and this is also known as a nazar at tabarrur. This is known as nazar at tabarrur, wherein a person uh, obligates upon himself any act of obedience, but it is not restricted to anything. Like he says, for Allah, I will fast for one day, and he did not attach it to anything. So, this is known as nazar at tabarrur. Now, this nazar, from other angle, it is also of two types. Either it is nazar ta'at or nazar masiya. Nazar in acts of obediences plus nazar of sinning. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in one of the hadiths, "Man nazara an yuti Allah fal yuti'ahu, wa man nazara an ya'siyahu fala ya'sihi." And the one who takes a nazar or vow to obey Allah, then he must obey Him, yani fulfill the nazar. And the one who makes a vow to sin or disobey Allah, then he must not disobey Allah, which means he must not fulfill that nazar. So nazar is also, from another angle, nazar is also of two types: nazar ta'at and nazar masiya. And the most severest type of nazar of masya is nazar shirk, in which shirk is involved, wherein a person is taking a vow and he is intending it for a ghairullah, because nazar is ibadah, because Allah has praised those who fulfill their vows, yufuna bin nazri. So it is an ibadah, and it should sincerely be directed towards Allah alone without directing it to ghairullah. So فإن نذور المشركين التي كانت في الجاهلية والنذور التي شابهتها للقبور العليا, يعني the nazar which the mushrikeen did back then, as well as the nazar of those in our times who direct it to the graves or the awliya or the salihin as they claim, all of it are from ashirk al-akbar, which takes them out of the fold of Islam. In nazar, there is nothing like asghar and asghar. Asghar and akbar, it is only akbar which will take you out of the fold of Islam. It is the exclusive right of Allah. If at all you make nazar, do it for Allah. But principally, you should not take nazar. You should not vow about something, principally, initially. But if you have done it, you must fulfill it. Because if you fulfill it, you are the ones whom Allah has prayed you. Yufuna bin nazri. So, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu said, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I vowed during the Jahiliyyah, which means when he did not accepted Islam, when he was a he was not a Muslim. During that time, he took a vow. He vowed to do i'tikaf for a night, or in another narration it says for a day, in Al Masjid Al Haram. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, fulfill your nazar, yani do the i'tikaf, awfi bi nazrika. Why? Because this nazar of doing i'tikaf was nazar ta'at. It was a nazar of obedience. It was nazar tabarrur, because Umar radiallahu anhu did not restrict this nazar to anything. And if this happened or that happened, then no, it was an independent nazar. So it must be fulfilled. It was nazar mutlaq as well as it was nazar ta'at. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded him to fulfill the nazar, fa'ufi bi nazrika. Hadith 368 and Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma anin Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam annahu naha anin nazri wa qala innahu la yati bi khairin wa innama yustakhraju bihi min bakhil. This nazar, it will not bring any good, rather it is a means of extracting some wealth from a miser person. So in this hadith it is as if he is prohibiting, annahu naha anin nazar, yani Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prohibited from taking a vow. Taking a vow, it is in fact disliked in the Sharia, as I said earlier, to take a vow principally initially. Because why should a person obligate upon him something which Sharia has not actually made obligatory upon him? He should do the acts of righteousness without obligating upon himself. If you want, you can fast whenever you want, you can pray as many rakah you want to pray. Why to obligate yourself to pray like every day I will pray 2 rakah at such and such time, I will fast 3 days in a month, and it is a nazar upon me? So why to obligate? Why can't you do these act of obediences without obligating it upon yourself? This is something very severe. If you obligate something upon you, it becomes obligatory. If you die without fulfilling it, this remains an obligation upon you, which has to be fulfilled later by your awliya. So it will be a burden upon them. So he says, innahu la yati bi khair. It does not bring good, because most of the people, those who do nazar, they want to achieve something, and it will be a muqayyad nazar only. Mostly, most of the people, they do this. Either they are sick, they want to succeed in the exam, or things of that nature, and so they do the nazar, and they say, if such and such thing will happen, then I will fast 1 day or month, or I will do this and that. So yani, irrespective of whether you are going to do this nazar or not, what is going to happen will happen. It is already written there in your qadr. It is there in Allah al Mahfuz. So why to obligate yourself or upon you something which Sharia has not actually obligated upon you? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, innama yustakhraju bihi min al bakhil. It is only a means, this nazar is only a means of extracting some wealth from this miser person who does not do sadaqah. So how will he do sadaqah now? By this nazar, by means of this nazar, now he will do the sadaqah. He'll make it obligatory upon him, and he'll do sadaqah, which Sharia actually has not made obligatory upon him. So the basic uh, idea or the principle is that nazar is disliked. To initially make nazar is disliked, but if somebody has already made some vow or nazar, then it is obligatory upon him to fulfill. Why? Because Allah has praised those who fulfill their vows. Yufuna bin nazri. 369 and Uqba ibn Amir radiyallahu anhu قال نذرت أختي أن تمشي إلى بيت الله الحرام حافية فأمرتني أن أستفتي لها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فاستفتيته فقال لتمشي ولتركب. This hadith is a very important hadith, 369, and people like those who are going on Hajj walking must listen to it. Right now you may be seeing this on Facebook. The whole Facebook or this YouTube would be full with the incidences of this Sana Ansari. And before him, that person from South India, he also went walking to the Hajj. This is nothing but it is foolishness. It is sheer foolishness. So this hadith is addressing that issue only. Okay, this hadith is from that issue only. Wherein here he says, Uqba ibn Amir raziyallahu anhu, he says that my sister, she made a vow to walk to Baitullah al-Haram. Hafiyatan yani barefoot. Now in this there is great mashakka, hardship, and there is darar. There is hardship, there could be harm, which is not hidden. And the religion of Allah is, it is easy. Now this woman, the sister of The companion, she obligated upon herself something which bring in some kind of hardship. In some narrations, it has also come that antamshi khafiya ghair muhtamira. I will walk barefooted at the same time uncovered. Yani, I will not cover my head. Muhtamira, ghair muhtamira from khimar. Yani, without covering the head. And hairs are open, head is open. Yani, you can see the head and the hairs. This is a sin. Is sinning. So he came and she commanded her brother to go and seek the fatwa from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he went to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam seeking this opinion and the fatwa. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what did he say? Li tamshiya wal tarkab. Yani, do both of these things. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam commanded her to ride as well as walk. Whenever it is easy, you walk, and whenever it becomes difficult, so ride an animal or something. But walking the whole distance on foot, barefooted that too, this is something which involves great hardship. And the Sharia is easy. It did not come to cause unnecessary hardship. So there is harm in it. As for not covering the head, then this is sin. Not covering the head, a woman not covering the head, open hairs, going and walking, this is something which is impermissible. And this is becomes nazar masiya in this case. It is a nazar of sin, and it is impermissible to fulfill such a vow, because you cannot disobey Allah. You cannot say that, uh, or it is understood that whoever makes a vow to commit a sin is not permitted to fulfill it. If someone vows to disobey Allah, they must not carry out that vow under pretense that they have obligated themselves to do so. A person cannot justify sinning by claiming that they made a vow to do it. Additionally, in some narrations of the hadith, uh, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said that Inna Allah la yasna'u bi shiqa'i ukhtika shay'an. Indeed Allah does not benefit from your sister's suffering in any way. This statement highlights that such a vow brings unnecessary hardship, difficulty, and exhaustion, which are not required by Islam. The woman imposed upon herself something unjustly difficult, and thus the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam forbade her from fulfilling it. Also, concern wal tasum salasata yamin, yani Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in some of the narrations that let her fast 3 days. So this is the kafara to nazar, and kafara of nazar is exactly the same as kafara al yamin, which we saw earlier. Kafaratul Yamin, as it has come in Suratul Maida, is what? It is to free a slave, or to feed 10 poor people, or to clothe 10 miskin poor people. Then, if you are not able to do any one of these three, then only you shift to fasting. In this hadith, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam commanding her to fast 3 days implies that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam knew that this woman is not capable of doing either of these three previous things, and this is the reason he commanded her to fast for 3 days. So, kafara of nazar is exactly the same as kafaratul yamin. 370 عن عبد الله بن عباس رضي الله عنهما أنه قال استفتى سعد بن عبادة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في نذر كان على أمه توفيت قبل أن تقضيه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فاقضي عنها. So this is concerning a nazar which remained unfulfilled. The person died, and now the wali of this woman came later asking, can I do it on her behalf? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes, fulfill it. Sa'd ibn Ubadah radiyallahu anhu, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam seeking uh, answer to his question that her mother vowed upon something. Her mother vowed upon something, and again this is from bir al walidain. Yani bir of the walidain, being good and pious and righteous to the parents, is not only when they are alive, but this also applies to when they have died and passed away. So bir to the walidain also applies to when they have passed away. Like, it is piety and righteousness for the children to ask and confirm whether those whose parents have passed away, to confirm whether they died with some rights of people upon them or not. Did they took loan from someone? Are there anything which are still a part of their responsibility, which is to be fulfilled and repaid back to others? This is from righteousness towards parent after their death. So righteousness towards parents is only not only in their life, it also applies after they have passed away. So in this case, Ubada radiyallahu anhu, he consulted Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding a nazar which his mother made before dying, which he could not fulfill. Before fulfilling, she died. So it remained as a responsibility to be fulfilled. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded faqdihi anha, fulfill it on her behalf. So it gives the benefit that the awliya of the mayyit, those the close relatives of the mayyit, if there are any rights which are pending, these rights could be the huquq al adimiyin, these are the rights of the human beings, they could also be the rights of Allah, then they must be fulfilled. And it is kind of a bir and a piety and righteousness towards them, and ihsan, being good and excellent towards them. If it is some kind of wealth, yani rights of the makhluk to be paid back, uh, then it is to be like, if it involves some kind of money or wealth, like if they vowed to slaughter a sheep, or to do sadaqah of a particular amount from the wealth, or they vowed to do umrah or hajj or things of that nature, then money is to be taken from their tariqah, leftover wealth, and this vow is to be fulfilled. If this vow involves some acts of obediences like praying, fasting, then the wali, the close relatives of the dead, will fulfill it on behalf of the dead. Because Aisha radiallahu anha says in one hadith, Man mata wa alayhi siyamun sama anhu walihu. The one who dies while there are obligatory fasts to be fulfilled, then the wali of this mayyit will fast on behalf of this person. Hadith 371, an Ka'b bin Malik radiyallahu anhu qala qultu ya Rasulullah inna min tawbati an khali'a min mali sadaqatan ila Allah wa ila rasulih sallallahu alaihi wasallam, faqala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam amsik alayka ba'da malika fahuwa khairun lak. So this hadith is hadith of Ka'b ibn Malik, and as you know, he is one of those three who stayed behind from Ghazwa Tabuk for no reason, for no reason, just procrastination. They stayed behind, and he was truthful, just like the two other companions of his. They were truthful with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they informed him everything, and clearly that there was no reason for us to stay behind. We stayed behind just out of procrastination. We have no other excuse, in contrast to others who gave different excuses to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he accepted it. But they did not. They truthfully said that there was no reason, and thus they were cut off for 50 days. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam abandoned them and commanded the companions to not speak to them, and things of that, even commanded their wives to separate from them. And then later on in Surah At-Tawbah, ayat were revealed concerning them, and how because of this, Ka'b ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu became so happy that he says that inna min tawbati, yani min tawbati here it means yani as a means of showing gratitude to Allah for this great blessing which Allah bestowed upon us, that he accepted our repentance and revealed verses in the Quran which will be recited until the last day. So as a means of being grateful to Allah, he said that I want to like donate and give charity with all of my wealth as a sadaqah. Inna min tawbati sadaqatan ilallahi wa ila rasuli. Yani I want to give sadaqah of all my wealth that I have as a means of showing gratitude to this great blessing and favor Allah bestowed upon me. I want to give all my property as sadaqah to Allah and His Messenger. To Allah, to seek nearness to Him. To Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam means so that He may put it in any cause He deemed fit. So this is actually not nazar. This was not a nazar. He actually came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to consult him, that is it permissible for me to do this, or to advise me what should I do. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Amsik alayka, keep your wealth with you. Amsik alayka, or some of your wealth with you, fahuwa khairun, it is better for you. It is better for you to keep it with you. And some of wealth, which means that which will suffice for you, for the daily expenses which are required for you, for your children, for your wife, for your house. Keep that much wealth with you so that you need not to go to people begging and asking for your needs. فَإِذَا إِنْ خَلَى مِنْ مَالِهِ كُلِّ أَصْبَحَ عَالَةً عَلَى غَيْرِهِ. And if a person donates and gives charity with all of his wealth, he may, then ultimately will end up begging people and asking for their help. So he says it is better for you to keep some of your wealth with you, and it is better for you. It is better for a person to be self sufficient instead of begging and asking people for favors. As for the incident of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu is concerned, when he gave all of his wealth as charity, kama bayyana ulama, as the scholars they explain that how can we reconcile between this? They say that if a person is able upon earning and he knows that even if I give everything that I have today, alhamdulillah, I can earn and I can take care of myself, my family, my children, then there is no harm with that. So this is how they reconciled between that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu was a capable man upon earning, so he gave all of his wealth, and he was capable upon earning and taking care of his family afterwards. Babul Qada. Babul Qada. This is the chapter concerning rulings. And Aisha radhiyallahu anha قالت قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من أحدث في أمرنا هذا ما ليس منه فهو رد وفي لفظ من عمل عملا ليس عليه أمرنا فهو رد. This chapter was brought in by Musannif rahimahullah, wherein the hadiths related to judiciary and legal rulings will be discussed. The term qada, judiciary, refers to resolving disputes, addressing conflicts that arise between people, and handling cases where one party oppresses or wrongs another. It involves settling disagreements, ensuring justice, and adjudicating in matters of wrongdoing or transgression. Uh, Judiciary is an essential system. Amrun la budda minhu. Wannas la ghunyata lahum anhu fahum fi hajatin massa. It's an essential system. People cannot do without it, as they are in great need of it. Through judiciary, people's affairs are set in order, their interests are protected, oppression is removed from those who have been wronged. Thus, judiciary carries immense goodness, merit, and kindness for people. If a judge is guided to perform his duties properly, fulfilling his role and making sincere efforts in judgment, then great benefits arise from his work. Countless benefits come to people through judicial courts, where disputes are resolved, conflicts are settled, and reconciliation is achieved between individuals. These courts bring uh, immeasurable good, and many people are unaware of the status and significance of the judges. Judge hold a very critical position in society. They are entrusted with a great responsibility and are engaged in a noble act of goodness and kindness towards people. For this reason, their rank and role should be recognized, and their virtue and importance should be acknowledged. Judiciary is one of the most prestigious and noble professions. Prophet Muhammad SAW and the prophets before him served as judges and ruled among people. Prophet SAW appointed judges, sending them to various lands to settle disputes and govern among the people. People cannot do without judicial rulings in cases of oppression, in cases of disagreements, disputes, conflicts. For this reason, judicial councils bring great benefits to the society. For example, they put an end to the evils, they resolve problems, they secure people's rights, they establish justice and fairness. Thus, judiciary holds a magnificent status and plays a significant role in ensuring justice and the social law and order in the society. So here the Musannif rahimahullah, he brought in the hadith of Ummul Mu'minin Aisha radiyallahu anha. She says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man ahdasa fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu fahuwa radd." Wa fi lafzin, "Man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna fahuwa radd." That whoever invents something new in our affair of this, which means our religion, then what is not part of it, then it will be rejected. Likewise, the one who acts upon something which is not part of a religion, it will be rejected. Now, this qaida is not only specific to the chapter of qada, rather it applies to every chapter of fiqh. Every chapter of fiqh. It applies to chapter of fasting, prayer, ibadat, other, even in the affairs of, like the sales and transaction, it applies everywhere. That whenever a person comes up with something which is not part of the religion, it is contradictory to the legislation, the sharia, it will be rejected, it will not be acceptable. So Musannif rahimahullah brought in here just as a means of pointing to us on this meaning, that it is equally important in the field of qada. If a hakim, if he is ruling in the light of book and the kitab and the sunnah, then this will be acceptable. But if he'll rule not in the light of kitab and the sunnah, out of his own desires, then there will not be barakah, and this will not be acceptable in the sight of Allah. Even if whatever the people may say, it will not be acceptable in the sight of Allah. Hadith 373. And Aisha radhiyallahu anha qalat dakhalat Hindu bintu Utba imra'atu Abi Sufyan ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alaihi wasallam faqalat ala ila akhiri al hadith. So here Ummul Mu'minin Aisha radhiyallahu anha, she says that Hind bint Utba, wife of Abu Sufyan radhiyallahu anhuma, she came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking something. She says that Abu Sufyan is a miser man. So he is now informing about a quality of Abu Sufyan which, if he would have heard, he would have disliked. It is kind of a ghiba. However, a person, it is permissible for him or her to describe a person which otherwise may appear to be ghiba, but it is permissible in case of an oppression, or when he is in court for arbitration. At that point, it is permissible for such a person to describe the qualities of the other person, even though they appear to be offensive and may fall under the category of riba. Likewise, any wrong in an operation, if it is done, or likewise, in case of marriage proposals also, if they come and a person comes to ask you, you are a neighbor to that boy, and they are asking you concerning that boy or that girl or that family, and if you know something about them, then it is something, you can inform them that yes, such and such thing is found in that person, but don't go beyond that. They are asking you concerning whether he prays or not, you say no, they like this boy, he does such and such thing and he does such and such thing. No, only restrict yourself to what is required at that point in time, and this will not be considered as ghiba. So here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she informs her, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he is a miser man. Inna Aba Sufyan rajulun shahi, he does not give us like expenses, daily expenses which suffice me and my children. So she is making complaint. Illa, then what she does, except I take something from her, from his pocket without his knowledge, and I take out without his knowledge from his pocket. Is there any sin upon me? So this question, now the scholars, they say, was Hind radiyallahu anha came here seeking a ruling or just asking a fatwa? There is difference. Fatwa is a scholar gives the fatwa. Now to implement or not implement, it is up to you. This is fatwa. And qada, a ruling, is where it will be forced upon you. Once you go to the hakim, and if he gives the ruling, it will be implemented. So was it only a fatwa seeking exercise, or was she came there with the intention of seeking a ruling so that it could be implemented? So there are two opinions. One group of scholars, they say that it is actually from arbitration, and it is a kind of a ruling. She came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam seeking a ruling in her matter. Okay, so this is the reason Musannif Rahimahullah mentioned this hadith in the Baabul Qazaa. There are other groups of scholars, those say that no, she only came to seek fatwa. She did not come there to, to seek a ruling, a hukum, so that it can be implemented. And this is more correct. And this is the opinion adopted by Ibn Baz Rahimahullah as well as other scholars, that it is a fatwa only. She came there to seek fatwa. Because if it was if it was a ruling, then it would have been specific to her case, because rulings cannot be applied to others. You cannot, another the incidences wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ruled against someone something in the ahadith, they are case specific and specific to them. Those rulings cannot be applied to others. However, if it is a fatwa, it applies to everyone. So every woman who is in this situation, it is applicable upon her. She can take the money without the information of the husband, to take money which will suffice only as much. She should not take more than what is required, but only as much she requires. She can take from the pocket of the husband, even if he is unaware of it. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did he say? Khuzi min malihi bil ma'ruf ma yakfiki wa yakfi baniki. And take only as much will suffice for you as well as for your children. Even if your husband does not know it, you can take. So it is a fatwa, it is not a ruling. Otherwise, it would have been only specific to Hind radiyallahu anha. 374, an ummi salamata radiyallahu anha anna Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam samiya jalbata khasmin bibabi hujratihi فخرج إليه فقال ألا إنما أنا بشر إنما يأتيني الخصم فلعل بعدكم أن يكون أبلغ من بعد فأحسب أنه صادق فأقضي له فمن قضيت له بحق مسلم فإنما هي قطعة من نار فليلهم فليحملها أو يذرها. So here Salama radiyallahu anha min ummahatil mu'minin, she says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard jalbata khasmin. Jalbata is raised voices. People were raising voices in front of the room of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he came out to them. Then he says, address them. Again, this is, as we saw earlier, it is waz. He is as if he is, like warning them before ruling between them, warning them. I am only a human being like you. You bring your disputes to me, and perhaps some of you are better in speaking, in presenting their cases in comparison to others, and I consider that person to be truthful and I rule in favor of him. Faman qadaytu lahu bihaqqin muslimin, and know that if I ever rule in favor of someone who was not actually rightful owner of that right, then know that he is only taking a part of fire in his favor. So either he should take it or he should leave it. It is up to him. So here again, as we said earlier, uh, it is the importance of admonition from the qadi. Even before he rule between the disputing parties, he should warn them. He should warn them so that they take heed, instill fear of Allah in them, remind them of the fire and the punishment of Allah in the hereafter. Why? وأيضا يذكر بأن حكم القاضي لا يهل. Likewise, second important thing is that rule of the qadi, the judgment that he is giving, it will not make halal as haram and haram as halal, because as we said earlier, a qazi, he will only judge on the apparent. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself said in this hadith, some of you may be very articulative, the way they speak, the way they present their case, and I may consider him to be truthful and I may rule in his favor. Why? Because he presented the case in a better way. The other party, he did not have the evidences. So this other party, who was a fajir person, he's a liar, he's an open sinner, he took an oath without having fear of Allah. So based on that oath, the qazi may give ruling in favor of this person. That does not convert halal into haram and haram into halal, because qazi is only judging on the apparent, and this person should know that he is only taking in his favor a part of fire, a part of fire. فَلْيَحْمِلْهَا أَوْ يَذَرْهَا. Now it is up to him. This is not for choice, that either he carries his or leave it. No, it is, this how is not for choice, it is for threat, tahdeed. It doesn't mean that you have the choice, either you take that that thing or that right in your favor, or you leave it. No, it means that it's a threat, tahdeed, tahzir, and a warning. It's a severe warning for such a person who is usurping the rights of others in a fabricated manner, by lying things and presenting the case in a nicer way. So it is a threat against them. There is, in this hadith also, is a benefit that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not know unseen. He did not know unseen what is inside the heart of the people. It is only which Allah, the unseen is only known to Allah. He says, Allah inna ana basharum mithlukum. Indeed, I am only a human being like you. I do not know unseen. And this is a refutation against those extremists who make false claims. False claim that Prophet Muhammad knew, he knew ghaib. So this is, or also their awliya, as we saw earlier in that story. So this is a refutation to those, and it directly contradicts the ayah in the Quran, قُلْ لَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ الْغَيْبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Only Allah is the one who knows the unseen of the heavens and the earth. Imam Abu Hanifa and others from amongst the scholars, they went up to a stage, they say that whoever claims that Prophet Muhammad or other than them from the righteous and the awliya know ghaib, then this person has disbelieved. Why? Because it contradicts the ayah of the Quran directly. And any contradiction to the ayah of the Quran is a disbelief. Also from the benefits from this hadith is that anna linnasi zahir amma al-bawatin was sarair fa ilmuhu ilallah. Yani rulings are to be given on the apparent. As for what is inside the heart of a person, what are their secrets, their bawatin, their interiors, only Allah knows about it. The qazi will judge only on the apparent. In this hadith is also there is a kind of pacification to the qadi, that لأنه لو أن الحكم صار لشخص ليس, يعني if at all a qazi rules in favor of someone who the right does not belong to, then qazi has not done anything wrong. Why? Because he, as we said earlier, is only giving his ruling on the apparent. One of the parties is more articulative, he is expressing or presenting his case in a better manner. So this comes as a kind of a pacification to the qudat and the qadi and those judges, that you are not held responsible. You will not be held responsible for it. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad himself, he was the best of the judges and the best of the creation. When he can commit mistake in resolving disputes between the two parties, because one of them is more articulative and better in speaking, then you and me even more so. فَلَعَلَّ بَعْضَكُمْ أَنْ يَكُونَ أَبْلَغَ مِنْ بَعْدِي فَأَحْسِبُ أَنَّهُ صَادِقٌ فَأَقْضِي لَهُ. I may consider such a person to be truthful and I rule in his favor. But that person should not think that what he has achieved belongs to him. Rather, what he is making in his favor is only a part of fire. Now it is up to him, either he take it or he leaves it. If he'll take it, he has to face the consequences. If he leave it, having fear of Allah, he'll be saved. Faman qadaytu lahu bihaqqi muslimin. So here also the word bihaqqi muslimin has come, but it is not specific to Muslim. You cannot take the right of anyone, Muslims or non-Muslims. But here, since mostly this happened in their time, so Muslim is mentioned in the hadith. 375 an Abdullah an Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakra radiyallahu anhu qala kataba abi aw katabtu lahu ila ibnihi aw katabtu lahu ila ibnihi Abdullah ibn Abi Bakra wa huwa qadin bi Sijistan. So Musannif Rahimahullah brought in this hadith of Abu Bakr or Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr. Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr radiyallahu anhu, who says that my father, Kataba Abi, my father wrote, or he says I wrote to him. Katabtu lahu ila ibnihi Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr, to his son Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr. Yani to another, yani his brother. One of the brothers, yani Abdul Rahman one and Abdullah other. So he, yani I wrote to him to send a letter to his another son by the name of Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr radiyallahu anhum. And he was a Qadi, yani Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr was a Qadi in Sijistan. Sijistan. What was the written in the letter? Allah tahkum bayna snaini wa anta ghadban. Yani do not rule between two people in a state when you are angry. Why? Because I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, La yahkumu ahadun bayna snaini wa huwa ghadban. Do not rule between two people if you are in the state of ghadab, anger. Here ghadab means very severe anger, which prevents a person from taking proper decisions. As for like small amount of ghadab, then there is no problem in it. But when the ghadab intensifies and reaches a stage wherein a person is unable to think properly, in this state it is impermissible for a qadi or a ruler to take decisions. The scholars, they say, not only ghadab but everything which busies the mind of a person, which makes his mind incapable of taking decisions, then he should not rule in such a case. There are cases of when he is sad, affected by some news of his close ones, or maybe he is hungry, he is severely hungry, or he is involved in some kind of contemplation or something for some reason. Then in all of these cases the same ruling applies, that he should not give ruling, because his mind is not free to take proper decision. His mind is not free to listen to the disputing parties and their evidences and their oaths and all those things. Hadith 376 an Abi Bakrata radiyallahu anhu qala qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ala unabbiukum bi akbaril kabair salasan. Again, this hadith is from Abi Bakr radiyallahu anhu, who says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, shall I not inform you of the greatest of sins? And he repeated this three times. And number one, he asked this, he said this in a question form, again to attract the attention of the listeners. And repeating it three times further emphasizes the importance of this question or the information that he was about to give. So they said, Bala, why not, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? قلنا بلى قال الإشراك بالله ولقوق الوالدين وكان متكئا فجلس وقال ألا وقول الزور وشهادة الزور. So he mentioned three things. ذكر هذه الأمور الثلاثة مبينا عليه الصلاة والسلام. Three things he mentioned, that they are the greatest of crimes. The first and the foremost is shirk, associating partners. It is the greatest of crime in absolute sense. Most destructive sin, al-ishraku billahi, to associate partners with Allah in things which are qualities of Allah specific to him, either in terms of ibadat or in terms of his rububiyah. To claim any of these things is from shirk of Allah. It takes a person out of the fold of Islam. The second thing is uququl walidain, disobedience of parents, to disobey the parents. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam combined uququl walidain with ishraku billah. This itself shows the the how great a crime is to disobey the parents, because he associated it with the shirk of Allah. And in the book of Allah also, Allah has wherever Allah mentioned his tawheed, Allah mentioned birrul walidain. Wherever Allah mentioned the crime of shirk, Allah connected it immediately after it with the rights of the parents. This itself indicates the how heinous this crime is to disobey the parents. Then he says, "Wakana muttaqiyan fajalasa." Now, in the third thing, when he was about to mention the third thing, he was reclining on something. You can imagine the situation. He was reclining on something. He stood straight, fajalasa, and then he said this: "Allah wa qawlu zur." Qawlu zur is false speech, oppressive speech. Wa shahadatu zur famazala yukarriruha. And the third thing, which is grave crime, is qawlu zur, yani false speech, and to give false witnesses. And he kept on repeating it, so much so that the narrator says, we hope that now he should remain silent. We hope for it. So this hadith, qurinat fihi shahadatu zur bishirk. So in this hadith, just like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam combined disobedience of parents with the shirk billah, likewise azur, false speech and false witness, with the shirk. This again shows the gravity of the matter. शहादत الزور false witness يترتب على وجودها في مجالس القضاء والتقاضي أضرار عظيمة جدا. يعني false oaths, false witnesses, there are so many harms, so many harms upon the society. So many times the rights of people were wasted because of false witnesses. Oppression occurred to those who deserved their rights, which the rights were not given to them. Wealth of people were taken unjustly. So many people's right were taken just because of false witness. Fayati al insan fi amrin laysa lahu fihi ay haq. And a person comes, he has no right over that thing. He comes either with false witnesses, or he comes, and if witnesses are not available, he may come and he will take an oath in front of the qadi, and he'll take this right which does not belong to him. That will lead to waste of wealth, waste of honor, waste of money, property, and so many things. So there are so many harms of false witness and false oaths. And it is from the destructive sins. 377 قال رحمه الله عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لو يعطى الناس بدعواهم لادعى ناس دماء رجال وأموالهم ولكن اليمين على المدعى عليه. This is that qaida. We studied this in Arba'in and Nawawi as well. The qaida which says that the Prophet Muhammad said, if people were to given for every claim they made merely on their claims, then people would ask for blood and wealth of people unjustly. They will just claim and come, and bloodshed will occur unjustly. Property and money will be taken and snatched from others. However, had it not been for this qaida in the religion, walakin al yaminu alal mudda alayhi. Who is the mudda alayhi? Mudda alayhi is the one who is refuting, who is denying the right. Yani two people, one of them came, he said this thing belongs to me. The other says no, it does not. So the one who's denying is the mudda alayhi, and the one who came with this the claim, he is a muddai. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said al bayyinatu alal muddai wal yaminu ala man ankar. So the proof, the honors of presenting the proof is upon the muddai, the one who is claiming, the claimant, while the oath is upon the one who is denying the right, who is denying. Like a person came, yati shakhs wa yadda'i anna sayyarat allati bi, yani there is the car belongs to someone. The other person came in the court, he says the car which is with this person, it belongs to me. The asal is that al bara'atu zimmata min sayyarat biyadi min as-sayyarati biyadihi. This is the asal, yani this car does not belong to him. So what the qazi will say, okay, you have come with a claim, you're claiming this car, bring me the proof that this car belongs to you. Any witness, you have the bills, invoices, something which can prove that you purchased this car. If the car, he does not have evidence, then the qadi will say to the mudda alai, the other person, can you take the oath? And if he takes the oath, the matter will be resolved. Khalas. So simple. So al bayyinatu ala al muddai alayhi ala al mudda'i wal yamin ala man ankar. الحكمة من هذه القاعدة العظيمة أن البينة على المدعي عليه واليمين على من أنكر. الحكمة من ذلك مبنية في الحديث نفسه. يعني what is the wisdom behind this? Why is it that the مدعي has to bring the witness and the yamin is upon the one who is denying? Because لو يعطى الناس بدعواهم لادعى ناس دماء رجال وأموال. يعني if there was no such system of evidences or the oath, everyone would come in whatever claim they would like to come with, and they will seek blood of others, they will seek wealth of others. And if there was no system of proof and oaths, people would, there would be complete chaos in the society, and neither the wealth nor the blood would have remained safe in the society. لو يؤتى الناس بدعواهم لادعى ناس دماء رجال وأموالهم ولكن اليمين على المدعى عليه, but the yamin, the oath, is upon al-mudda'a alayhi, the other party. So he will take the oath. He will take the oath. وهذا لا يؤتى الناس بدعواهم, yani because of this, now the people will not be granted simply on basis of their claims. Even if they are known for their truthfulness, even if they are known for their virtues, they are scholars, the greatest of the scholars, they will not be given merely on the grounds of their claim, as we saw in the hadith which we saw earlier, in today itself. In today itself, wherein Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I think the hadith of Qais radiallahu anhu, Ash'as ibn Qais radiallahu anhu, what did Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said? Bring your witness. Both of them were claiming the well to be theirs. He said, bring your witness. Though companions, can you doubt about their truthfulness? No. But rule is a rule. You have to bring your witnesses. If you have witnesses, well and good. If you don't have witnesses, take the oath upon Allah, Yameen. So, love youth and nasu bidawahum, ladda anasun dima rijalin wa amwaluhum. This is the great qaida, and because of this qaida, the wealth, honor, the sanctity of the people, both their blood as well as their wealth, is preserved because of this qaida. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك